Halo fans, hello, welcome, happy Friday, how you doing? Welcome back to the YNOT and Shyway show, episode 3. We somehow made it 3 weeks, 3 episodes in a row. Tony, I don't know how the heck we did it, but welcome back, my man. How you doing? And how you look good today, man. You're glowing today. There's something different about you. I heard you you skipped your nap. What's going on?
Well, that scares me. I skipped my nap, and I'm not feeling good. I don't know what's going on. I'm usually well rested, and I'm ready. And I don't know, man. It's not good. But today's been a phenomenal day. I got to stream. That was really fun. Got to let me tell you, me and 343 went at it, fisticuffs over in the matchmaking system. And
oh no,
I lost that battle. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, I lost that battle bad. But either way, it was a good stream, good vibes, and I'm really happy to be here. I
think it's safe to say in a 1v1, 343 wins every time, no matter how skilled you are. You know, Lucid loses 1v1s to 343 time and time again. They're just too good at the game, Tony, I think. So don't feel bad. I did want to ask you about the naps though, because I know you were talking about. You said you're feeling good despite the fact that you hadn't had it. Like what's the nap strategy, honestly, Tony? Because I'm very tired right now. Okay, it's been a crazy week of casting Halo between the Monday on Esports Arena and then the Open we had yesterday, which we'll talk about in just a second. I'm tired, but I can't nap, dude. I can't figure it out.
I'm telling you, man, that hour and 30 minutes, just sneak that in there. That's gonna be like a long, like 3 or 4 hours at that point. You're going to give me like an hour and 30 minutes, and I come in refreshed. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight.
And you just fall down on the bed and you're done. That's it. There's no ritual. Like,
well, I put on a Shyway YouTube video, and that usually puts me out right away.
Wait a sec.
Usually I put on a YouTube video unless like a sports podcast or something, and sometimes I gracefully go to sleep, or even sometimes even if I don't go to sleep, if I just close my eyes enough for a long enough time, like I still kind of feel rejuvenated afterwards. So even if it's not a full nap, it's still like relaxing the body, relaxing the mind.
Are you the kind of guy who can just fall asleep on a bus or like airplane or wherever? Like if you just close your eyes, you can just make it happen.
Well, there's a picture going on of me that puts me in that light.
Wait,
but no.
Maybe that was the objective. Wait, if you guys haven't heard of it, it's Why Not Be Sleeping, right?
Yes.
Somebody made a Twitter. Somebody made a Twitter called Why. I think it's got the underscores in it.
I hate them.
Y_not_be. I don't know. Oh, it's
I
just
don't follow it.
And he's got all the photos, dude. It's I mean, it's a little weird though, to be honest. That he's collected your photos. There was one you said, "Where did you get this?" Because you didn't even know, you hadn't even seen it before. Which at some point you wonder, where is he? Is he got a camera? Anyway.
Yeah, if I get a picture of my front door or something, like ordering a DoorDash or something, I'm gonna freak out.
Very scary. Either way, we've got a less scary episode of Why Not and Shyway. Of course, today we're talking all things Halo Esports, as you can see on your left, or my left, and yes, the left side of the screen. We've got Open Series today. We're talking about Manglers today. It's been a while since we talked about Mangler in HCS. We've got new Halo maps as well, Forge maps, but still excited to watch or take a look at those. And we've got a Halo legend, pro, and somebody who will be coming back, I believe, in the competitive scene very shortly. Mikwin coming on the show towards the end of it. Can't wait to talk to him, hear his thoughts on Halo Esports. Tony, let's get to brass taxes. Let's get into it. Let's start with Open Series. Yesterday, we both had the pleasure of casting it. We had 3 teams, I think, in the spotlight that really came out that are worthy of our discussion. Not that anybody else is not worthy, but we had 3 teams in the spotlight: United, Complexity, and Space Station.
And just to give you guys a quick little rundown of it, so it was United that ended up losing out in the Game 5 to Complexity in the semifinals. Eventually, Complexity beat out Space Station Gaming in 3-1 in the winners bracket finals to secure themselves in the grand finals. Then in the lower bracket, Proton Gaming getting top 4, but not good enough to get swept by United. United then lose out 1-3 to Space Station Gaming, bringing SSG to the grand finals, where Complexity were able to come out with the win. And if I remember correctly, I believe it was a 3-0 sweep in the grand finals. Like Complexity didn't even lose a single game. So Complexity did end up winning the Open, despite being the underdogs against both Space Station Gaming and United.
Wait, was it a 3-0 or a 3-1? It was dominant. It was definitely dominant with Complexity. I think they might have won 1 game. Either way,
the winners finals they did.
Okay,
in the winners finals.
Okay.
In the grand finals, according to the bracket on FaceTime, it could be incorrect, but it was a sweep in favor of Complexity.
And Tony, I'm half hearing that and half looking. Obviously, if you're watching on Esports Arena, we got clips in the center of the screen. These are complexity boys, aren't they? We see Monster. We've got Vetra hitting snipes in the center of the screen. These boys are cracked as hell, Tony. Complexity kind of stole the show, I think. Any thoughts? What are your kind of initial thoughts? Just coming off of the Open, seeing the placements that we got, what jumps out at you?
Well, United, I think United still look good, but it's obviously they're a little bit far away from consistently getting top 4 at every single land. I don't think they're there yet. Oh, yeah. I still love Suspector and what he brings to the table. I call him top 5 underrated Slayer that we have in our league. I love what Manny brings to the table. I think he's a huge swing player and a great replacement for King Nick on that roster. YNOT, always known as a phenomenal IGL, but an underrated Slayer. I mean, he was a free-for-all phenom for a reason. And then Rain, who I always hear is one of the more underrated players as well, based on his communication and what he brings to the table. So United, I like them. I'm not in love with them right now because SSG were able to come out with the win, and so the Complexity SSG, who I had when I first heard this roster come together, I was thinking, this is going to be my new Dark Horse squad. This is going to be where KCP were. This is going to be where G1 is right now, is where I actually had Space Station Gaming, and they've been kind of up and down. I'm glad they beat out United. I think that was a huge win for them. And then finally, Complexity, the team of the hour. Complexity have been good. They've been great. They've been bad, and now they're great, everywhere. And now they're great again. And the scariest thing about Complexity is that they're getting better and better every time we see them. Week after week, Complexity continue to impress and continue to put major wins on the board and really solidifying themselves as, forget about top 16. We're talking top 12. We're talking maybe top 8, and them even trying to shoot for a top 6 or above. Complexity are sneakily becoming a big deal.
You think so? You think that you see them coming into top 6, peaking in these top ranks like G1? Like G1 had an insane glow up. Do you see Complexity on that same kind of train? Do you think they've got the shot?
Only because I don't want to be a victim of recency bias. I'm going to say not yet, but I will say the way they've been looking, I said top 16 guaranteed. Okay. Now I'm starting to even throw some more respect on the names. I'm saying, okay, well now top 7, but maybe a legitimate contender for making top 12. I'm not ready to say top 6 just yet, mainly because I have too much respect for G1. Even G2 are going to make a run. Wherever KCP end up going to, whatever org, they're going to be making a run. So there's a lot of teams that are in the running for that placement, and there's only 6 teams in the top 6, so I'm not guaranteeing it just yet, but if they continue on this trajectory, if they continue looking as good as they've been, beating out the likes of SSG and United, who are 2 other contenders to make that top 6, hey, well, let's talk about it, but not just yet.
This is an interesting team, though, Tony. Is this the youngest team in the league currently? Because this is something I was thinking about yesterday. You got Veteran, Ironical, and Cycle. They're all teenagers, as far as I'm aware. And then you got Monster, I want to say mid-20s. So they might actually be, like, cumulatively, if I could say that word, the youngest team in Halo right now. Do you think that has any sort of impact on performance and, like, playmaking or anything like that? They're unique in that sense. They're also kind of unproven, I think, a little bit, too, which might have been part of the reason why we had some trash talk yesterday. I don't know if you remember that.
They're a little wet behind the ears,
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they play young, they play fast, they play cracked out, they're flying every like. Hey, let me tell you, youth is a weapon, and I don't have it. So I wish I could go back in time. Let me tell you, man, I swear back in the day I could shoot. Now,
really,
the thumbs be.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I played a lot of guitar when I was younger and whatnot. There's a lot of age on these thumbs, but I will say, it's good that they're young. It's good that they're hungry, and also good that they also sound like they're willing to learn and they're willing to get better and better. They're like I said, they are hungry. They're not satisfied with being top 16 or top 24. They're like, no, they want to get to that top 12, top 8 or above, and they're continuing to do that.
I agree. And Tony, just to say, well, I'm sorry to hear that the thumbs don't work like they used to, man. That's just inspirational talk, though, for me, at least, for anyone up and coming as a boomer. I feel better at 30 than I ever did in my mid-20s or younger. I think I'm more cracked, more skilled, more knowledgeable about all my games than I ever was. So it's not over. It's the top of the hill. I'd say at 30, just keep grinding. I think it's when the passion dies is when things really fall apart. As long as you still got the passion, then you'll find a way.
I got no passion.
I mean? Well, that's it. You're just passionless, Tony. That's why. Don't they call you YNOT be passionless?
It's one of my Smurfs. Soon to be the main.
Nah. You just shifted your focus, right? If we look at Tony a year ago in casting and Tony now in casting, dude, the glow up is insane. Not that
Don't look.
It's awesome though to see the come up, and I think it'll be awesome to see how far these boys go as well. I jumped into the trash talk real briefly just because there was a lot of it at one point in the Twitch chat. It felt like the MLG Halo days for a second. It was Monster and Suppressed kind of going at it. Any insight on what the history is there? They were going in the Twitch chat. There was some teabagging. Do we say teabagging still in Halo? Body disrespect? I don't know what's kosher
Well, at one
these
point,
days.
at one point, I think Monster said that we beat you in your best on our worst. Or, oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, that was McWin. Sorry, that was McWin who said that. Never mind. I apologize. No, I will say, some people use gaming as an outlet. To kind of escape reality. Some people use it to fill that competitive void, that competitive, hole. And us as competitive players, we're passionate about it. Oh, they are. I'm not, but we're passionate about it. So we want to win as bad as we don't want to lose it. And also if you lose a game that you can win, that if your team was playing better and playing at your peak, that should have been yours. Tempers start to fly, and you're gonna hear some stuff. You're gonna go back and forward. I always say, as long as you leave it on the virtual battlefield, you're good. The second it starts to come into real life, and that's where you have a little bit of trouble. But it's competitive Halo, and just like whether it's basketball, whether it's Halo, whether it's darts, at the end of the day, we're passionate about it, and that passion might spill over.
It's just good Halo in the end of the day, I think, for sure, Tony. Trash talk is something we're used to, and we kind of live off it. I think that's kind of the cool thing with Complexity is they're young kids on the come-up. Monster, obviously, been in the scene. He jumped over to Fortnite, jumped back to Halo, so a bit of a veteran, but still proving themselves. And as long as you're talented and proving yourself, you're going to meet a little bit of trash talk, a little bit of, is he for real or not? I just can't wait to see it translate to land. So Complexity looking promising is, I'd say, we'll say for now. SSG, what about them? They had a bit of a middle of the road, I want to say, as far as they beat United, which is awesome, but they lost to Complexity, a team that I think they might have beaten, a little earlier back.
I mean, SSG, I want to premise by saying that I'm hard on them because I expect a lot from them, because I know what their potential is. Like I said, they were supposed to be my dark horse team. They're opposed to what KCP were. They're opposed to what G1 are now. You have a three-headed monster, Tylenol, Suppressed, and Collect. These are three players that can stuff the stat sheet, that fly at you, make you as uncomfortable as possible, and put so much damage on the map. Collect and Suppress just soak up so much damage. Collect with his amazing ability to just avoid shots, to be able to stay alive. And then you have Tylenol, a 1.74 KD at Kansas City. These three are insane. And they're young and they're hungry, just like Complexity are. Then you have Ace. The man's the real deal. And let me tell you, Ace has been popping off as well.
Yeah,
give him the power weapon. Let me tell you, give him the heat wave. He be doing what he does. And when Ace is popping off, SSG are dangerous. And I truly believe that SSG are at a point where if somebody told me they beat out one of the Elite Three, like Optic, Sentinels, or Cloud9 in the tournament, I would say it's an upset.
Yes, 100%.
I truly would. But I'm not gonna. It's not inconceivable to me. It's not preposterous to me. Like I wouldn't like if somebody told me Anime Demons beat one of them, I'm flipping the table. But if somebody told me SSG did, the table's staying up. I might throw a chair, maybe a couple papers, but I'm not going crazy because I know what their potential is. I just need them to reach it. So up and down season, they're not exactly where I want them to be. I'm sure they're not exactly where they want to be, but at the end of the day, they're still a good team, and they're still going to be fighting hard for that top 6, especially come land time.
Potential's there, no doubt. I'd be very surprised if I see them beat like a C9 or Sentinels or Optic. At the same time, though, this is probably the best time to punch through. If G1 can do it, kind of jump up and find the little opening, especially with these teams kind of changing, reorganizing a little bit, then SSG, who's to say they can't either? It would be surprising for now. But this is a good step to see them beat United. So definitely something's working. And just to echo what you said, these boys are popping off. I think Ace, specifically in the United series, was a big part of the reason why they did win that United series. I think he was one of the main kind of contributors on the scoreboard. Also, just constantly on his POV, watching him flank, behind enemy lines on Aquarius Slayer. kind of opening up a lot of big plays for the team. This is Collect, by the way, on screen. This happened during the Open Series. I don't know if we can zoom in. There we go. Thank you. I didn't notice it. I'm casting. I didn't see it. But Collect with the Galaxy Brain Instasplode. Look at this. Walshy would be so proud here, Tony. He banks it off the planner, throws a second, it gets a perfect arc, and then he finishes it with the stalker shot. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Look at that.
Precision in practice. Precision in practice right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible. The placement was just so perfect.
It just makes me think of the nade skill gap in this game, and I think one of the few areas in this game that has a lot of like room to grow, a lot of untapped potential. Like Collect showing that. The neighbor nades we saw on Twitter a little while ago, Tony, we don't have that to show, I don't think, just yet. If you aren't aware, look up Mason Cobb on Twitter. Watch his neighbor nades video. Watch it, like ASAP. It's super informative. I haven't seen anything like that in Halo Esports just yet, so little strategies here and there. And Collect, I think, a good example, kind of a pioneer in the space, not just with that type of gameplay, but with the thrust. I mean, when it comes to Collect and thruster movement, I don't know if there's anybody else in the league who can stand up to him. So I agree with you on potential, Tony. Now let's go to United a little bit, because they seem to be struggling, especially in comparison to expectations, considering their history as a team.
Yeah, I think
What's the problem, Tony? What's the damn problem?
They're going to be a victim of their own success. You're talking about a squad that has a 4th, 3rd, and a 2nd place finish on LAN, and they're expecting them to consistently be top 4 for the rest of the year and going to season 2. I think they're going to be a little disappointed. I like what United are. And I love their play style. I love their, jab and get out, jab and get out, crossing it. They hit hard and they avoid damage, and it works for them. And I think it will continue to work. It's just that as of right now, if you told me, do they get top 4 or am I betting against the field? Give me the field. I'm sorry, because just as talented as they are, there's so much talent in Halo right now, and it's wide open. It really is. We have no idea what FaZe is going to look like. G1 have been proven that they are incredible. G2 with Barcode have been lights out. KCP might sign with the new org. Who knows what that's going to look like? Like, there's so many teams that are gunning for that top 4 placing that it's really tough for me. United are a great team. I said it before, when Ryan Noob is popping off, this team is looking excellent. Suspector, he's fast, he's in your face, he's a phenomenal slayer, and it's just crazy to me when they go 2 down and need a multi-kill, need a play, and then Manny's out there, just gets himself a nasty double kill, like, oh, there's our Manny kind of thing. Yeah. United are dangerous. They are, and they march to a beat of their own drum, which can throw some teams off guard. My problem is that when that information gets downloaded and gets countered. Like if you're playing against Sentinels or an Optic, for example, like eventually they kind of feel out that time and they feel what's happening, and they're able to kind of regain.
Right. So, you're right. You said you started by saying you like their playstyle, which their playstyle has been a little controversial, at least in Twitch chat. I don't know if Twitch chat is ever a good source of info, but it has been. It has been the actual quote. People are saying they're playing cringe, bro. I think what they mean to say is United.
So does Trippy.
Right. So I don't. Wait. Why does Trippy play cringe? Who said that?
He's always in quarters. He doesn't say anything. He's been popping out of quarters all day. I'm sorry. Go on.
Calling out Trippy on the broadcast today, apparently. But they play slower, right? They play for positioning. And one of the biggest things I noticed was their series with Proton Gaming, and Proton could not figure it out against them. They had on Live Fire Slayer, they got a guy in tower, they got a guy back tower, they got a guy on nest. They're all in a perimeter around each other. And if you're not pushing one lane with enough numbers at the right time, like coordinated, they'll pick you off one by one. Like an OS guy came in, got melted by a wall of bullets. He's dead. By the time the second guy, they're all melted. You know what I mean? The moment somebody gets like half shields, like Ryan Noob's half shields, he's behind tower. He's like out of the field of play. They shift position. You know what I mean? Like their hold maintains. They just change position to completely fill in the gaps that are left behind without actually getting aggressive and pushing up back to C, pushing onto spawns, flipping the map like other teams are kind of known to do. It's interesting, right? Because I wonder how much success will they see with that playstyle if, at the moment at least, it seems to be getting countered. And is it also a matter of just having Suspector and Manny in the fold and them being new? Are they not, have they not fully got a grasp on it? yeah, you look at Manny and KCP, and now E United by comparison. Like KCP was touted as what, like the fastest, one of the fastest teams in Halo Esports, and then to go to E United, like that's got to be a mind flip and a half, right? Like, so
you're saying E United aren't fast? Whoa.
Well, I mean, they can play fast when they want to, but they don't want to very often. Is what it seems like, right? So I don't know. I mean, what can you really say to that, right? Time will tell, I guess.
I'm still mind blown. I think E United are faster than KCP. Let me tell you, man. E United, it's a turtle race. You know what I'm saying? You ever read the story, the turtle and the hare? Wins. Who ended up winning the race? No, E United definitely marched to a beat of their own drum, like I said, and hey, it works for them, and I love watching it.
That's a really good analogy for them, honestly, though, because that might be what they're going for. In the end of the day, I get the sense that they are a LAN tournament type of team that are going to throw a curveball at you with a different play style, and on LAN, it might make you make mistakes, and like everything might start to crumble. You know what I mean? Like that's what they kind of get me as at the moment. And in a scrim, in like a comfortable environment where you got time to adapt to them, you can do it more so. But in a tournament, when it's a best of 5 and pressure's against you, it might be a little bit more difficult, and maybe they'll pull away. Either way, can't wait to see it.
Can I just throw in one more thing? I apologize.
Anything
I do want to say,
go for it.
YNOT has been preaching this for a while. People heard it in Halo Infinite, and they're making a big deal about it now, but I've been hearing him say this since MCC.
Okay.
It's not just a different play style, by the way. It's what YNOT thinks is the best play. It's the play style. There was a bunch of times where he called out Sentinels, for example, saying that Sentinels don't play the game the right way. He says, look at us, look at what we do. This is before he was team with sparring and them. I'm talking about way back in everything. He said, look what we do. We are winning games for a reason because we're playing the game the right way. Like he's gone out and attacked other teams in the way that they play. And it's like look at us. We're not the most talented. We're not not the renegades. We're not the X, Y, and Z's. You know, we're us. And we're winning games. There's obviously a reason for that. So I do want to point out that I kind of joke around and talk about their slow gameplay and them doing what they got to do. But it's not just them trying to counter the meta. It's what they feel the meta should be. And they are playing the game the proper way. I'm sorry. Go on.
No. It is the holy scriptures giveth by the prophets of the Halo ring. I don't know. This is it. This is the way to play. Maybe it will be. If that's the crazy and really cool thing about it is if United do win, then Ryan can get on the mic and say, I told you this is the right way to play. So, I mean, let's see it happen. Let's, in the meantime, though, Tony, move on because we got a couple other things to touch on. Probably the biggest talk of the town, the right way to look at it. People love to talk about the Mangler GA or just GAs in general. That's the topic of the week right now in Halo is GA. Are we GAing everything or are we GAing nothing and just taking off the restrictions and just going ham? And we got some tweets. Is it C9 that's kind of started the wave a little bit? I feel like because it's Cloud, it's Penguin on one side, it's Renegade saying something similar on the other, and now everybody's talking about it. And what are you leaning to, Tony, with this whole GA thing?
You get
what are you doing? Are you pro Mangler or against Mangler?
Well, for those who don't know, GA stands for Gentleman's Agreement. All it means is that as gentlemen, because all of us Halo competitors are, we've agreed to not use this weapon for competitive integrity. My thing with everybody assumes I hate the Mangler, and that's not the case. I love the Mangler. I think the Mangler is phenomenal. I truly like the weapon in general. My problem with it, it may be different than pros, maybe different from anybody else, maybe different than you, but this is my issue with it. The Mangler is a secondary weapon. It is not a commando. It is not a pulse carbine. It is not a plasma pistol. To me, it is a legitimate shotgun. It is that 2-shot drop weapon into the BR is incredible. Yeah. Even if you're not doing that, just one shot back behind cover. You're weak, poke out, pop that one shot, go back in. Use it like a shotgun. Use that, pop a shot, and during the animation, take cover and then pop back out. Like to me, it's legitimately as good as a shotgun. So my problem with the Mangler is that when it's not on a shotgun timer, you have a situation where it's coming up every 30 seconds. You start off with 27 bullets and it can hold a max of 52. The damn thing's never off the map. In 4 minutes into the game, you have 6 to 8 people having a Mangler at that point. So my issue with the Mangler is that it's treated as a secondary, but it's not given the respect it deserves. It's legitimately as good as a heat wave, in my opinion. It's as good as a bulldog, and it's easier to use than a shock rifle. So if you have it to a situation where it comes up, what I think it's 15 seconds to despawn, 1 minute 30 seconds, whatever the bulldog and heat wave is on, and you can only have one on the map, I'm fine with it. Because I love it. My problem is that I don't want 6 to 8 of them on the map. Because at that point, to me, it's not even competitive Halo at that point. It's a different game, in my opinion. So that's my only problem with the Mangler. I love the weapon. I just think that as of right now, it's not given the respect it deserves, and it's being treated more like a commando or assault rifle or a pulse carbine than is what it actually is. And that's a damn good shotgun, in my opinion.
But it's not supposed to be, though, right? So, okay, first of all, none of this conversation, I think, would happen if we could just do what you just said, right? Like, if it was possible to just have it spawn less with less ammo, or even just take it off and switch it with a sidekick, which I've seen Spartan say, then we wouldn't even be having this talk in the first place, because I totally agree with you. Well, at the moment, it's more difficult than we're aware of, apparently. There's that. So hopefully, at some point we might see that. The other thing is that the weapon, as far as I'm aware, is not designed to be that, though, right? Like, it's designed to be a secondary sidearm that you just pull out that is in the same tier as the other weapons. It's not quite working that way. And why is it not working that way, though, Tony? Do you think it's like, first, it's the power of it, the aim, like, it's somewhat forgiving, aim-wise, and it's the drop combo as well, right? So there's, like, a couple... Wow, there's a lot of layers to this, isn't there? Like, it's like, what do you remove?
Like an onion.
Huh?
So like an onion, like a shred.
It's like an onion.
Shrek reference, sorry.
It definitely is. The thing is, so now the talk is, okay, if we can't take it off the wall, if we can't, obviously the pros don't have any kind of control over really much, whether or not they just decide to pick up something or not, then now they're starting to think, okay, maybe we should pick it up because the rest of the sandbox is already so damn strong as it is, Tony, and the Mangler could maybe give, people an opportunity to win a fight with a sword, which already... The sword is insanely powerful, right? To be able to win a trade or beat down some of these other power weapons that were shotgun, let's say. Like you said, you can go toe-to-toe with a shotgun. Shotgun won't have as much influence on the game if there's a Mangler in play to counter it. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not in love with the sword to begin with, but that might be another discussion. Maybe we'll talk about that soon here. To me, it's almost like we have that problem at Apex 2, where like there's one buff character, and instead of nerfing, everybody's like, well, why don't we buff everybody around them? Like, what? No, that is not how we should treat. That's not how we should treat it. Like to combat one broken aspect of the sword being competitive, which by the way I don't think it should be. We keep the Mangler in play. Well, I think we need to address both, in my opinion. And I mean, it's to me, it should be this. The meta should be fluid. Like let's keep working on things. Let's keep making it better. Let's keep adding new maps. Let's keep tweaking some of the weapons and whatnot. Like I feel like I come from old school competitive. When I was playing Reach, it took us up to V7 to find good settings. You know, it took us. In Halo 5, we were playing with assault rifles and full radar for how long before we found good settings? I feel like.
By the way, I find it interesting that we played for 2.5 years in Halo 5 and nobody GA'd anything. We just did. We were fine. I mean, obviously, you start with the AR.
Put a piece of tape on it.
Right. We can't do anything about the radar. But the Storm Rifle, dude, the Storm Rifle and the SMG were insanely powerful. We just kept them. We just let it happen for 2.5 years. Only now in Halo do we see this whole GA discussion coming in. And I heard what you said. You want to take the sword out. I understand that. I think currently the way the sword is balanced, it is like too powerful. The issue is, like, the sword is a sick weapon, right? Like, the sword is part of what makes Halo visually, like, is part of that unique sandbox kind of experience that is Halo. You want the sword to be there. The issue is you want it to be balanced as well. So it's tough, right? Because the sword, I'd say, ideally, if you could make it so you could trade with the sword with a melee, then maybe you could keep it in the game, But in a casual perspective, maybe the weapon would have less utility. It would be less of a power weapon if that trade system, worked in more of a social sense. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to create nerfs that are only specific to competitive and then have them not bleed over into casual play as well. How do you find that middle ground, right? That's the tough thing, where it's like, I want the sword in play. I don't know if they need to change it to do that. The other issue with the sword also is just the internet connection and desync and stuff too. It just doesn't work well with the with online Halo sometimes is a little funky. It's just a tough topic. I saw a tweet by Furiously earlier today, and he's like, revised GA list for Halo Infinite. Said Sword, Heatwave, Bulldog, Stalker, Manglers, Shock, and Spike Nades. It's like, what's even left in the game to play with if we're taking everything? Like,
yeah,
I like the Heatwave a lot. I get that, like, these shotguns are pretty powerful, and maybe that's why we want the Mangler back, because people are thinking, like, oh, Heatwave, Bulldog, they take over the game too much, so maybe the Mangler just let them have at it. But the Stalker as well? Like, is it because of the drop combo, right? Like, maybe it's because... What's left to play with, boys?
I don't want to water it down that much, and I don't want to be like that. Like, if they replace the sword with the Bulldog, I'm fine with that. If like there's outplayability with the Bulldog, but I don't know. I just feel like I wouldn't be mad if they replaced the sword with the Bulldog. That's on me personally. Yeah. As far as Stalker Rifle, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've played Halo Infinite on a slow sensitivity, and I've played on a fast sensitivity. And if you play on a low sense, dude, the Stalker's broken, bro.
Isn't the BR broken too? I heard like people want a GA low sensitivity because half the weapons are like a cheat code. If you have low sense, apparently you like don't miss.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's easy to hit with the BR, but the Stalker is just so quick, bro. And if you obviously if you miss a shot or two, like you're gonna get punished with the Stalker Rifle, especially with it having less aim assist than something like the Battle Rifle. But when you play on low sense, man, I've actually been tempted to have like 2 sensitivity settings where I pick up the Stalker Rifle, I flip to a sensitivity, and then I and then I just use the Stalker. I'm saying you like the sword so much.
Or you got dual sword action.
Let's dual wield the sword. I put that in there.
God.
I thought you liked the sword.
Imagine that in Halo Infinite, dude. That would go.
You throw one at somebody, like a spike grenade, you stick them with it.
Oh, no. So, in my thought at the moment, currently, Tony, because we have so limited control over what's changed with the weapons and how they work and all of that, that's just, it's unfortunate. We got to be kind of patient and hope that, down the line, maybe the pros can kind of start to tweak what weapons spawn where and how much ammo they have and whatnot. We can hopefully find some sort of a sweet spot that's, well agreed upon. For now, I just say open the frickin' floodgates. Just let it. I just want to see it happen. Bring the Mangler back. Screw it. Whatever. Let's play a couple tournaments that way. See how pros feel with it like that. If it's chaos, then they'll deal. But honestly, I'm kind of siding with C9 and just let it happen in the moment. And then hopefully, what we do see is we see the sidekick swap out with the Mangler. We see some subtle changes in play, so some of the sandbox stays intact or. I don't know. Nerfing weapons more is always a difficulty, I think, when you have a casual community that wants to play as well. But as far as tweaking the availability of the weapons and the ammo, that I think we should have complete control over at some point, hopefully. I'm just praying, that we get more control there. In the meantime, just let it happen, baby. I'm going to pull out the Mangler, Tony. Get ready.
For the sake of time, you know what? I think because we got a big topic to talk about. So, because we will have a whole nother podcast set to talk about the Mangler. We'll have a whole nother separate podcast. We'll talk about it, but I think we should talk a little bit about Forge.
So there's 2 new maps that got is leaked the right word? They're being showcased through Forge. They're built in Forge. As far as I'm aware, these are not the final versions of the maps. As far as I can tell, these are 4v4 maps. We're going to fly through them, Tony. We can just react, give initial thoughts on this. This is Cataract. So it's a Forge map developed by 343, I believe, but it's been ported into, I don't know, some shenanigans are going on to put this map here and show it to us. It's not a final product. What do you think?
So we're taking a look at it. When I saw these 2 platforms, it kind of gave me like sort of pit vibes for like a second, and then I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And then I'm like, okay, we'll go into another room, and it's longer than we think, and then we're going it looks like this map is so small, and then I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, what bases? What this map is? Is interesting, which, by the way, we should probably give a spoiler alert. Like, these next 2, if you guys don't want to have any spoilers whatsoever, skip over the next, I would say, 10, 15 minutes, because we're kind of late on this one, but there's still time. Fast forward 10 or 15 minutes if you don't want to see any spoilers.
What? Let's keep this one on repeat just for a second, just so we can run back through. Okay, so a couple things you said, right? It's way bigger than we thought at first glance, right? The first thing you see, it looks, I think, actually kind of cool. When it first opens up, it's a very simple design, kind of akin to something like a Heretic, with the way that you've got, I think there's a sword top mid, little platform, open and exposed, a lot of open sight lines, at least in that straight up center, which feels pretty damn Halo to me. And then it sort of compartmentalizes into like bigger rooms and corridors and like all of these intricacies that make it feel a little big for a 4v4. I don't know, maybe when we actually get in there, Tony, it'll feel smaller. I think Catalyst, obviously a big map, but felt a little smaller for me when I got in it too. A lot of curb slides, by the way. A lot of slides. I'm seeing stuff everywhere. I won't go into it. Biggest thing I'm noticing, though, Tony, is it's got two snipes. I don't know if you saw it. There's a snipe on one corner. Okay. And there's a snipe on the other corner. And this has to be one of the most, hotly requested features in a competitive map. So that alone makes this a W, this whole thing. Honestly, I'm excited just because I see two S7s. There's one, it's like on like a diagonal. There's one on the left side here, and then you flip the map around. It's left side regardless of what side you spawn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. As a player that loves to go toe-to-toe with other snipers, I'm about it. And then obviously as a commentator, like, I want to see some real battles, man. I want to see, Rule 2 grab a sniper and go up against Snipe Down and on a map like similar to Sanctuary and literally play the chess game. You're watching every angle, you're trying to find information, and you're slowing the game down until the moment that sniper goes down, and that's when you get aggressive. I think it plays for great content. I think it's amazing gameplay. And it gives us that, one of my favorite things about watching Call of Duty competitive is watching Search and Destroy and the way the game slows down with Search and Destroy. When there's two snipers up on the map, the game slows down and you really see that chess game. So it's obviously not the same, but it gives me similar vibes to when that happens.
It's going to be interesting for sure. I can't wait. And I think this whole topic about GAs that we're discussing, a lot of that would be alleviated with just more S7s on maps, right? Like some of those hyper precision weapons, pros get those in their hands. They stop complaining about GAs. They just enjoy the game, enjoy the skill gap. So two S7s in a map, that's a W. Can't wait to see how this plays. I'm getting CTF vibes, I think, on this one with just the symmetrical design. Let's jump over to Solitude. This one definitely looks like it's in those early stages, I think. Still, I don't expect it to stay this dark, but also I believe a symmetrical map, Tony. It looks like this one's interesting because there's an island right here and two man cannons that launch you back to the other side, and you can go back and forth to this island, which, as far as I can tell, it looks like a good King of the Hill or Strongholds type setup.
It looks like a one flag. There was a flag right there, so I wonder if it's like a one flag kind of thing.
There's three flags, kind of, though. Oh. There's one over there.
We need more flags.
More flags are needed, and hey, red flags? Hopefully not. Anyway, flags in general. It's pretty looking for what it is, right? Like, it's looking like it's like right at a campaign on the ridge of like a campaign kind of section of the map. But very dark, too dark, I'd expect for a comp map, right? So like little things I think could still be arted up here. It is in Forge. Up the brightness on this map, maybe too. Very interesting looking. Looks like there's corridors that goes into left-hand side there, too. Not as exciting as Cataract, though, Tony. What do you think?
Both maps... both maps seem kind of weird to me. I'm more of like a doer. I'm not really like a visual person. I just need to go out there and do it. Like for example, when I first saw Streets during the... I forgot. So somebody was showcasing it. And it was one of their videos, and I was like, this map is awful. What's going on? I couldn't figure it out. And then once I played, I was like, yo, this map is one of my favorite maps. So I'm gonna give both of them a chance. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna take it off at first glance. I want to get on there, see the play, see how the meta formulates around it, and maybe I fall in love with, like, for example, with Catalyst, not Cataract, but Catalyst that we played. I'm not a fan of the map. I'll be honest, but there's lots of fun grapple plays that I love making, going under the map, going around the map. I make sure I do it as much as possible. I probably overdo it, to be honest with you. if you ever play me in matchmaking on Catalyst, I'm not on the map. I'm somewhere outside of it with the grapple.
Fair. First impressions matter for sure, though, Tony. I hear you, but you got to be a doer, right? You want to jump in, experience it. Fair enough. I look and I immediately will get, like, for Streets. I fell in love with Streets when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god, this map looks sick. So opposite kind of experience to you. Catalyst, I fell in love with. Then I played it, and then I had less love for it when I played it. This map, I'm not loving. It looks
nice, though.
I'm not loving this as much. Yeah, it looks nice, exactly. This looks interesting, right? Like, it looks different layout-wise than anything we've played, so I'll give it that. And it could be fun, by all means, but Cataract looked more entertaining for me, just kind of straightforward, tons of, like, ramps, curb slide options, 2 snipes. I mean, 2 snipes gives it the auto win, I think, already. Either way, new maps in Halo, very needed right now. And Forge, I think, in general, so much potential, Tony, for this game. If there's any saving grace in the near future, I think it's Forge. I think we could finally bounce back with it. And if there's any saving grace for the show as well, Tony, I think it's our guest that's about ready to come on, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're testing some stuff out right now,
okay.
So I believe they might have gotten things done. I'm gonna wait for the producer to give me an okay in my ear. Okay, never mind. We're good. We're good.
Well, in case you all weren't aware, I'd like to welcome Miquin to the show. My dude, welcome. So happy to have you. How you doing? And where are you, by the way? I heard we caught you in the middle of, is it a vacation?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm back home in Michigan. So last time I did an interview with you, like back in 2017, this was the room I was
way
in.
back, 2019, right?
Yeah, but I live in Atlanta now, so I'm up for 16 days just to see family and stuff. So
damn. Okay, nice. How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm all right. Just chilling with family, hanging out. I am feeling a little weird right now, so I'm kind of worried, but we'll see.
Hopefully you feel better. I know we talked about it a little bit. You just came from a show.
Yeah.
Just recently.
Yeah, the show on Tuesday that I went to, and I think I might have caught a bug. I'm hoping it's not the Rona.
Oh no! Hey, everybody has their time with it now at this point.
I knocked on wood and everything on the way up here, and I haven't had it yet. But
fingers crossed, man.
Here I am.
Well, I'm a little worried. So I don't want to continue this interview anymore. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to catch it. I don't know. It's a virus, so it can go from computer to computer, right? Is that not how it works? No.
I mean, we don't know at this point. It could be anywhere, honestly.
It's funny you say you're from Atlanta. I didn't even know that. I'm literally right here. I'm literally 20 minutes away from the airport. I had no idea.
Yeah, I moved there back in 2021. Like I've been there about 14 months, I think.
Oh wow.
Atlanta's great. Atlanta's phenomenal. I always say, like, if it's something, there's a little something for everyone. What's one thing you hate about Atlanta? I'm sorry, a little off the top, real quick. What's one thing you hate about Atlanta, Georgia?
I don't like downtown at all. Like, I like the perimeter. Really the only place I like to go downtown to is like I'm gonna miss it, but like Pond City Market, Beltline to like Inman Park, I think is what it's called. Okay. That's really the only stuff I really do down there. But other than that, like I spend a majority of my time in probably the burbs. I just learned I wasn't a city boy when I was in Seattle, actually. And then my girlfriend's from Atlanta, so it was like, okay, Atlanta's close to Michigan-ish, so I can kind of get closer to Seattle. So that was kind of the decision maker on that.
Well, I hate the traffic, so I just stay inside. I never leave the house. Just never leave the house. That's my key. I'm a gamer. Yeah. Well, you kind of mentioned. Oh, you mentioned Seattle. So for those of you guys who don't know, obviously formerly worked with 343. If you don't mind, without I'm sure there's probably something you don't want to touch on, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your overall experience at 343 and what did you learn during your tenure there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty. I'm like kind of an open book with it to an extent. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you like what went on a day-to-day basis, but
9 to 5, go.
Like, my dad got me into like all this esports stuff. Like, I always had a goal. Like, I always told myself, like, if I ever get a job to go work in game dev, I'm going to try it, right? So I tried it, and just like you do something and you realize that's just not for you. I don't know. There's a lot of mixture of things of why, like being really far away from home. I think I was too close to the product, which is something that people struggle with in a creative sense. And I think that like coronavirus and going into the pandemic and being isolated from family and stuff was just kind of like the boiling point for it all. But like in terms of like learning, this is like a long-winded question, but the biggest thing that I can say that like came as a learned skill that I can actually apply to like all facets of life is that I always struggled with like working. I don't want to say working with a team because my teams were successful, but it was like I had an issue. Like I would butt heads with people, right? Like it was like I know what I want.
I can relate to this.
You know, in a competitive environment, you're going to be like kind of jerks to each other sometimes. Going into that environment made me realize that like this is way more stressful. So, you know, working with the pro team, like, yeah, I mean, we got into it on the pro team. Like, there's times I got into it with West. There's times I got into it with like L-Town and stuff. But I learned how to navigate that a little bit better. And nobody's ever perfect, but I feel like it was a massive improvement for me. So that's like the biggest thing that I can apply because, you know, I think you talk to anybody from like the NV team or anything. That was really our biggest hiccup was just that like there was personal problems that got in the way. And sometimes I was the like person that was initiating those.
So and just to follow up real quick, just to follow up real quick. So you worked for you obviously worked for 343. You're not competing right now. Is there some kind of conflict within that? Like, how does that affect your ability to compete?
Yeah. So when I started, the initial understanding was that like it was done. Like I wasn't going to be able to play Infinite whatsoever. Right.
Wow.
And I had heard like rumblings from the inside that like this game is going to be like the end, like the last one, right? Like obviously it came out as a service game and we're aware of that. So when we were internal, like I didn't, like the first year I didn't even really think about it whatsoever. Like I didn't really care to go back to it. And then this, I don't really know when it happened. Like Wes might be able to one day like help put it together, but I think everybody noticed the day when I came in and it was just like he's over this, right? And I knew that I wanted to come back to competing. So I started talking to Tashi, and you know there was the Forerunner team, so we had to figure out like what the ruling was for them, and then that rule would apply to me. So we went through all that, and we decided that you know sitting out the season was probably like, while kind of harsh, it was probably for the best, just that there's no questions, right? Like it drops the question of like he has an advantage. So that's what him and I agreed on. I thought you know whatever, like you know you can obviously argue one way or the other, but I felt like. For me, I didn't want to come back and people be like, he's only doing well because he worked on the game for X amount of years or whatever.
I think I remember Wes saying that you were too good for the pro team or something. Like, man, gassed you a little bit. He said you had to move on.
No, I mean, that really wasn't, I mean, there was times where like, I kind of had a fit of like, can we get like some like really sweaty, like quality matches? Like, let's say if everybody like go really hard, you know, and I was like trying to get like, designers and stuff to do it too. Like there was some switch that hit and I was like fully back to my crazy mode with competition. And I think that it was like almost my undoing in a sense because it was like, yeah, dude, like I was able to pull back on it when I started, but then it hit a certain point where it was like, no, like I'm freaking out. Like I need to play and have competitive matches. Right.
Do you feel like at this point you still have any sort of advantage though? At this point, like these boys have been grinding, they got their strats down. Like, is there anything that you think like, you know, if you jumped in now, would you still? I don't think you'd get, you know, people would be against it, would they?
No, I mean I don't think people would. It kind of goes back to what I said before, right? Like the whole thing for me and Tashi and like Richie. I think Richie was a part of the conversation. I'm not 100%, but. It was like, let's just like clear the air on it and there will be no questions, right? Like I'd rather people have like this question, like do you have an advantage? Because then at that point when I come back, it's a non-issue.
Exactly.
There was a time when Catalyst came out, we played 8s and they put it on game 5 and I like spawn trapped the other team like day 1 of Catalyst or day 2 or something. And I spawn trapped them and then we go on like a 20 kill swing and I just typed in like the pro 8s, like why'd you put on Catalyst when I've been playing it? Like, so there is moments like that, right? Like, but I think it's one of those things where like, since I'm not competing and I go into those 8s players are like, yo, like it just accelerates like almost the meta on accident, which I try to stay away from doing, but it's like, you know, I have to be selfish in a sense too and like make sure that I'm playing. So it's one of those things.
Interesting. Accelerates the meta. I mean, the meta moves quick, I think, regardless of what we do, because there's just so many people who just freaking grind. They find it.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like new things that come out. You've got still a little insight.
Yeah, I think when it like comes to that, it's like, you know, instead of like day 9 on Catalyst, now they know the spawns on like day 3. So it's like, does it really matter? Like that's where you get the conversation.
Like 1 week in advance.
Does it even actually matter? Like, welcome. Now you guys just start to be even better at it. But I try from like just, you know, I'm a big like competitive integrity guy. I don't want to be like somebody that like helps somebody do better. So, and I think I've done a really good job of navigating that since I left.
Awesome to hear that.
So, no matter, I love Halo. I play and stream this game literally every day. I actually love where Halo Infinite is at. The core is there.
Yeah.
And obviously, you help. So thank you for putting out this product. But I'm going to talk more about the competitive side. And how are you feeling about Halo Esports where we're at? You know, we have a bunch of top tier orgs. You know, these skins are doing crazy. Viewership seems to be when these big tournaments, the viewership is there. So despite what people may think about the actual game, it seems like the competitive side is doing pretty decent. Where are you at with the current health of Halo Esports right now?
Yeah, so like I think something too is like I've done a pretty good job of staying critical while not being like overly negative, right? So for me, it's like I think Tashi, when he did the interview with Tools, did a really good job of saying that like personally I think we're probably at about a B, but in terms of like what they like set out to do, they're crushing it, right? And I think I'm in kind of agreement there. I think if you look at it, it's easily a B level esport. Like it's doing pretty good on viewership. Players are still playing. There's good orgs in there. I think the pitfalls have been the obvious things with the game. And the esports has been, we're in a rare moment now where like, you know, I think Halo 3, the esports was really strong, but it had no support from Bungie. And like the game was really strong, but you know, esports wasn't strong. And then Reach was like, the game wasn't strong, but esports was a pretty strong, it was semi strong on its own, but then the game, you know what I mean? And then with HCS's tenure, I feel like the whole time there's always been like an issue on both ends, right? And Halo 5 is like probably the most obvious one to point to where we were playing with like radar, ARs, and stuff like that for 2 years or whatever. And then they fixed it. And then also on the tournament side, like we didn't have an open tournament like the first like 10 months or something with that game. I forget. So from an esports standpoint in Infinite, it's the thing that, in my opinion, is like keeping it relevant. I think their biggest problem, and he admitted to it, was this big gap between Kansas City and the Super.
Right.
He'll alleviate that moving forward. I think the esports team figured it out. I think there was a lot of hard learnings in Halo 5. And after being in the room with them, like I know that they did. That's just one of those things where like esports is really strong. It's just now it's the falling on the game to do the healthy support aspect to keep it having some momentum.
Right. And I agree. Like, I think when you look at the viewership, no doubt, like, people come in, they still watch the big tournaments. Do you think we're in a good spot, like, meta-wise? Like, Halo 5, obviously, a lot of people had a lot of issues with, like, the balance of weapons. Now that's the talk of the town or whatever on Twitter. People talking about, you know, do we bring the Mangler back? Like, any thoughts, like, on that kind of situation?
Yeah, so, like, I can go in length about this and talking about skill floor, skill ceiling, skill gaps. Like, that was my cup of tea internally. But so I think Infinite it was important for us to pull back a little bit because I think from an accessibility standpoint, Halo 5 had some pitfalls in that sense of like, you know, you're a jet fighter playing. It's kind of a hard game to get into unless you're into that type of stuff. So, and there's also the piece of like, it was a very player-driven game, right? The mechanics that are in the game are really on the Spartan. There's something that you can do with. And I understand that people really like that skill gap. But I think for Infinite, you know, it was supposed to be familiar but new. And we went back to kind of like the powers on the map. You know, you're kind of a scavenging type thing, and this is going to be the skill gap. And I think that reduction and pullback on that was important. I think that in my opinion, like the pain point isn't like black and white. It's not, oh, we don't have advanced movement or there's not enough movement. I think the problem is that there's been no progression. So, you know, if you look at like any other really good live service game, their meta continuously changes or gets better or strengthened. And we haven't seen anything that helps that, right? If anything, the only change has actually pulled back on that and made, you know, something that was getting GA'd still not usable. So it's just like, you're in this weird spot where like the intentionality of like pulling back on the skill gap was a good thing for the game, but we haven't seen any like growth there. And I think that is starting to just reverse where people are like, dude, I'm so sick of like curb sliding and using like and a commander rifle. And I understand that. It's just a different time. Like games move quick. So it's one of those things.
Really well said. So thank you for that. Would you say that's kind of like the biggest thing Halo Esports, I guess, needs to like really get back on track? Because like, I mean, yes, viewership is still good, but we had like 200,000 plus, you know, back in Raleigh. Like, is it just that progression? Are there any other like little things Halo Esports would like really benefit from now?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because the momentum wasn't carried, and I think that like
Yeah.
you know, I've done a lot of, I've watched like a lot of GDC talks about like live service games and like how fast that falls off a cliff, like your population if you don't do the right things. You know, there's this game I really like called Path of Exile, and they're like kind of the and like innovators in this space of like they do 13-week cycles and they don't pipeline and like this really crazy thing, right? And nobody like can touch them, in my opinion, in terms of like their rubber band effect. Because every time they peak, they come down at the end of the league and they go back up over the previous peak. They do it every single 13 weeks. And because of that, it's like you have games like that. Fortnite follows that now. Like I think a lot of people started to follow suit. And so, you know, I've always said, you know, you have like 45 days to fix quality of life stuff, and you have 13 weeks to get major content into the game. If you're not doing that, your game isn't going to be sustainable. And in today's market, especially as a free-to-play game, you know, and we always like use the term like it's free to play, but it's also free to leave. And I think you're seeing the latter half of that statement like prove to be very true.
Yeah. Damn.
This has been great. This is an eye-opener for me. I want to go on more about this, but you know, due to restraints on time, we're gonna talk. We're running a little bit low on time, so I gotta ask you, with Worlds around the corner, what does the upcoming grind look like for you? Are we seeing Mick win back? I mean, there's a reason why you left. You said that competitive, it was itching. Are we gonna scratch it after Worlds?
Yeah, so I think you'll see like players not play too much after Worlds, obviously, because it'll be off season.
Right.
Season 3 is supposed to be November 7th, I think. That's when you'll probably see everybody start grinding, and I'll be back in the fold of that. So I'm going to Worlds. I'm going to be there on Sunday night. That's when everything happens. So if I'm not there, I'm stupid. So I'm going to be there talking to people and figuring stuff out. You know, I have Native behind me, and I plan on making a roster that's going to place top 4. So.
Okay. Top 4. I love
and then
that.
That's the objective too. Is you're gonna build a roster instead of try to jump into one. Is what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I have enough support from Native that I think that like I could technically join a roster, but we'd be behind Native. But it's a lot of stuff is up in the air, right? So I don't want to like get into that conversation too much because it's weird. But I have about 10 people that are like I have them ranked from like option A to B, and I've reached out in a sense, but I don't want to be the guy that like screws up Worlds. So I've reached out and like said like, hey, like let's talk after Worlds, right? So we should be good there.
And last, I just want to ask you just to follow up. What is it that you're gonna bring to this new roster? Tell me about McWin, the player, and what it is that you bring to this. You said top 4. Oh, I mean, that's some big expectations right there.
Well, I mean, we're a top player. That's the beautiful thing about it. The man went away, and anyway, sorry. Stage.
I mean, I think something that people don't understand about me is that like it's when I went to NB. I don't want to take up too much time with this, but when I went to NB, like I had to move roles into like kind of like the I don't want to say entry fragger or like really a role, but I was more of like the entry guy, right? And I feel like I got really good at that. Then I went to Renegades and was kind of the like I get all the kills, and I think I figured out where I stand, like where my playstyle is best on that. You know, I like joke around on my stream and stuff, and I look at like HDH, and it was like you look at the past like 5 lands of Halo 5, like the last 5 lands of Halo 5. Like I was top 3 in damage dealt, I was top 3 in KD, I was top 3 in KAD, and like stats aren't everything, but like you know, and the damage dealt was like me and Frosty. Right, per game. That was like, it was like me and Frosty, or like me and Shotzi, or like me and Renegade, or like it was some variant, but I was always in there. So I think the players that like know me know that like you're going to get somebody who just like doesn't lose fights and can put pressure. And I think I fixed a lot of my like pitfalls that I had as a player prior. But you know, I have to cross that bridge when I get there and figure out how to not be like a psychopath.
Well, it just sounds like a matter of time, man. You just got to jump in the pool. But yeah, love to hear all of it. Just, honestly, this whole interview, very informative. Not that I wasn't expecting it to be informative, but just really well said. Thank you so much, Mikwin. Tony, any final thoughts on this?
Well, no, I mean, watch out for this man McWinnon real soon. You know, after Worlds, and it was an absolute pleasure. I hope we actually get the chance to do this again because I would love to have you back on.
Longer form.
And 20 minutes ain't enough. We gonna have to put the whole hour aside when we talk next time. But thank you so much for coming on board. Real quick though, where can we find you? Twitch, Twitter. Where can the fans at home find you?
All my socials are just McWin, except for like Instagram. I don't use Instagram, but Twitch and Twitter, just McWin. Just go there. I am out of town, so you're not really going to see much from me in probably the next 10 days, 11 days, something like that. And I'm going to Orlando and World, so things are starting to go in that direction. But yeah, that's my socials. And thank you as well. It's my pleasure as well.
Awesome. Just a matter of time, man. Can't wait. Can't wait for things to just get rolling, right? Orlando, Worlds, and whatever comes, hopefully Forge as well. So a lot of exciting things on the horizon. McWin, thank you so much for joining us. Tony, I think that just about wraps us up, right? We've got, it's on the dot, just past 7. We've got a tournament coming up as well. Viewers in the chat, of course, if you're here to watch some more Halo, you're about to watch some more Halo. So stay tuned. We've got our ESA exhibition match coming up very shortly. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Halo action. Tony and I, we're not moving, right? It's the two of us casting, right, Tony?
I'm actually be heading now, but you know what? I got my big brother in here that's going to be rocking with you. I believe it's Clutch that's going to slip in. So I'm going to be heading out, but I'll be watching. Don't worry.
Well, Tony, pleasure to have you. And that will close our episode 3 of the YNOT and Shyway show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back with more Halo.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, and that means it's time for Series E Halo Infinite. My name is Ye, so excited to be joining you all once again, closing out an awesome week here during VIZIO week. The action has been great over the last 4 days, and I think we're going to have an awesome little cap to it here with some Halo Infinite Pro Night action, so I can't wait to get into the fun. We'll keep it quick here so we can jump right into our games. First of all, for those of you that are new, let's talk about what Series E is all about, okay? Series E is a professional esports open circuit that absolutely anyone can join across multiple different titles. We've got Apex Legends, Guilty Gear Strive, and of course, Halo Infinite. Now the way it works, players and teams that come out and they compete in our open qualifiers, and the best of the best make it into Series E. Now what does that mean for them? Well, players will get to sign a contract, they'll get sponsored by one of our partner brands, they will make a monthly salary, and they get to compete weekly for points and prize money. Now, in Halo Infinite, they'll compete every Monday night in an open night against other squads, just like they used to be themselves. And then every Friday, they compete in an invitation-only pro night against some of the best pros from all across North America. Now, if you and your friends want to get in on the fun, head over to matcherino.com/ESA to sign up. You can also use exclamation point sign up in Twitch chat right now to get the link that you need. And if you have any further questions, head over to esportsarena.com. It's got you covered. Now, coming into tonight's action, of course, we had Cloud9 out on Monday night. They were dominant and crushed the competition there, though Oxygen were at least able to force a reset in the grand finals. Now we'll have to see what Esports Arena Red and Blue can do here today. Of course, if you go back to last week, Red had their first win on a Friday night in a series. They went to grand finals and, of course, unfortunately, ran into a brick wall that was Pickup Team. We'll see if maybe they can find their form here once again tonight and see if Blue can do much of the same. The casters, though, are ready to go. My good friends Shyway and Clutch will be bringing you all of the action, and I'll be here to break things down in between. But let's not waste any time and get right into the fun. Here is some Series E Halo Infinite.
It's good to be back. Hello and welcome back to Esports Arena, your regularly scheduled program. I'm excited for the competition we got coming up here. I'm Shyway. It's again great to have my man Tony.
We have some great action today.
16th is his KD right now. So we do
Some information on that player. Finally finds him hiding in the corner, ends up getting the double melee. Luckily, JK putting his body on the line. Gold Star beyond
Resources 37 and counting, making 38. It just seems like they're in their heads. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Series E Halo Friday. We got an exhibition day planned for you, and I cannot wait to get into it. There's 4 teams, only 1 winner today. It's just sweaty Halo the whole way through. I'm Shyway. I've got Wes Clutch with me back once again. Clutch, how you doing, my man?
Doing good. It's Friday, like you said. That means we have a 4-team tournament here at ESA, and obviously we got the weekend in front of us. So what better way to kick off the weekend than some action? I know this time around there's no really top dogs in the tournament too, so some exciting matches ahead of us, and the potential to have it be anyone's tournament is the case. And I love the idea that we have a little bit more of a highly contested tournament this time around. No pioneers to spoil the fun, potentially just make it a little bit more one-sided. So looking forward to getting into the action, seeing the individual skill here, seeing how some of these teams have improved over the week, because ESA Red, ESA Blue, they've looked better over the past couple of weeks, especially ESA Red. So another showcase on them. We'll see what they bring to the table.
Right. Can't wait to see that. Of course, ESA Red and Blue, they'll be back. We'll look at the other teams in just a second. Let's look at format real quick before we jump into those teams. Of course, every Friday we do this tournament. It's best of 5, 4 teams invited, single elim. So you lose, that's it. You're out. You win, you take all the money. $500 for the winner. You got your map rotation on screen as well. And then we've got the teams, like you said, Wes. The beautiful thing about these teams is how closely contested I expect these matchups to be. I think we've got game 5s today. We're used to getting in and out of here pretty quick, Wes. This might be a little bit of a longer evening. We'll see. Just be prepared to buckle up.
Yeah, we had a game 5 last time around, I think, with Tony, where you missed out on it. It was ESA Red taking us to game 5, and it was a win for ESA Red, actually making it to the grand final. So an exciting time for them. We'll see if they can repeat that. I know Blackhand's probably a team that they're going to want to face up against. Forbidden Fruit, probably today's tournament favorite, I would say, just based off the names with Envor, Hysteria, Tony, and Arctic. Like, that's a stacked roster as far as individual skill. But we're going to have to see if that Forbidden Fruit roster can put it all together, because I feel like at this point, ESA Red, ESA Blue, they've been together for a little bit of time now. They've started to get some practice under their belt, and that repetition can pay off very quickly.
Definitely can. Just a quick look at these two teams in the bottom, though, of course. Forbidden Fruit, we saw these boys play together in the NA Super. Interesting team on paper, right? You got Envor coming out of Fnatic, Arctic out of, what was it? Xset, right? Hysteria, Complexity, Tony, G1. So 4 different players from different respective teams brought together, but they've been playing together for a bit now. The chemistry's starting to stick, I think. I expect them to come out and play. The Black Hand roster looking interesting as well. You've got, of course, Sylvanic and Cortex, but I think the other two, Bid Teaches and Shakoi, I believe I saw them on EXO. And EXO in the NA Super had a hell of a run. They took down several teams that you wouldn't have expected to lose, basically, in that situation. EXO kind of came out of nowhere. So maybe that's part of the reason why we see those boys there, and I wonder what that means for our matchup, Wes.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a much more highly contested series than we've seen maybe ESA Blue have in the past. They've started to pick it up a little bit, but those guys have been waiting to kind of make it to the grand finals of one of these Friday tournaments for a little bit now. I think that this is going to be their best opportunity. And Blackhand, probably a newly formed roster. I know Shakoi and I know Bid fairly well at this point. They have some individual skill themselves. And I don't know too much about Cortex or Sylvanic, but I mean, there's a reason that this Blackhand roster has come together, potentially for Orlando, I would assume. And this is great practice for both these two teams because, I mean, I talked about this last Friday, was very similarly to this. These are two teams that could potentially match up at Orlando, right? So you want tournament experience. You want that best of like 5 or 3 games. Like you want that round by round case where you can lose a game 1 in a that series practice as well, where you mentally have that pressure of getting knocked out of a tournament, back against the wall at some points, or you have the advantage of like a 2-0 in a series or whatnot. For some of these teams, they don't have that opportunity to get a lot of that kind of mentality practice and weathering the storm and going through the ebbs and flows of winning and losing games in series. Right. When you're practicing like best of 13s or 16s or whatever it is nowadays, right? Like, I think it's very important to get this practice under your belt. So even when teams lose series in these tournaments, or even when they lose games, there's still a ton of experience that can be under their belt that can lead them to victories later on in their careers, specifically at Orlando coming up.
Well said. Tournament environment is critical, even though it's online. You know, just simulate the environment, create the pressure for yourself, and see how you act under it, so that when there's real big deal pressure, you're hopefully ready to step up to the plate. And the other storyline, I think, with ESA Blue as well is last week, and it's not to say that these players in ESA Blue aren't very talented, because we know they are. They happened to go up against 4 of some of the best players in Halo, basically, together on a God squad that just kind of ran them over so quickly. It's hard to say whether or not you learn from an experience like that as much as you're going to learn from what I expect to be a very closely contested matchup here, Wes. I feel like this really pulls the best, or can pull the best out of their play, so that when they do go up against, the likes of Renegade, Spartan, later on, that maybe they've got a little bit of extra, wherewithal to work with. Either way, let's see how they're playing today. We're going to kick it off with Aquarius Ctf. I'd say the bread and butter of Halo Infinite.
Definitely one of the game types that I would say determines the better of the two teams a lot of the time. So when you have this to open up the series, usually this map mode combination can really dictate where this series is going to go, who's going to take it all. Obviously getting the 1-0 lead's nice, but textbook Halo required in Aquarius Ctf to kind of have success here already. Bid Teaches and Cortex off to a good start. They got the flag on the move, and it's a pink run for Blackhand.
Oh, that positioning at a Bid. So great to just shut down that one defender on the run. That gives him space to get it past P2. Now that he's this far, can he get away with it? Cabe not going to come out with his kill either. Flag, I believe, pulled opposite side here. Some sort of a standoff, maybe lying in wait if they can win the fights to get to it. Sylvanic just barely staying up here. Reverbed him living. It doesn't allow him to quite get the flag just yet. Standoff still in session.
Hallelujah. It's going to be the last guy alive for ESA Blue. Fortunately, Respawners on top of the base is going to turn this into that flag standoff. And Shyway, this early into the game, flag standoff may not be as crucial of a situation, but you need to be careful, because in a situation like this, you can find yourself not only going 4 dead, not only giving up the return, but a potential double cap in the same time. And that's where it could get ugly, right? A 1 cap lead, not too big of a deal on Aquarius. A 2 cap lead, a little bit different of a conversation, because all of a sudden the mindset of the enemy team will start to shift. And as I say that, a couple of kills going into ESA Blue's hands. Also, the return being hopped and a few kills going in their favor. Look at that. 3 dead. They're going to hop the return, and they may be able to get another flag on the move here shortly if 1 kill can be acquired by Reverb here. And perfect shots up top the base. A beautiful win from him. Although he's no shield, he's going to be in a perfect position to get this flag in the closet. And this is the double cap situation I was talking about.
This is just what you mentioned. 1 flag is one thing. 2 flags another. You can see they're just trying to scramble to slow this one down. Still down in utility. Mid Teach is already pushed up on the opposite side, so at the very least, we're looking at a counter pull situation once again. If he does elect to go for it, they know he's here. Got to play it slow. Wins this 1v1. He comes out with a little more than he bargained for. Needs this fight. He'll take it. 2 dead as well. That's a pull. And Blackhand actually have a chance here. Where'd it go? Oh, he just left it.
Where did it?
Oh, no, it didn't.
Stayed in the window.
Oh, no. That's a timing loss.
Stayed in the window. Unfortunate, but still on the move. We'll see how impactful that is. There are still a few members of VSA Blue going down as Alleluia gets his life taken from him. And that fight, this is stopped in the closet doorway. This is a very difficult place to try and get it out of, especially with grenades from the respawners coming through. They're going to try and hop the return, but Shakoi, picks up a massive double kill, continues the flag run. And you'd have to think they're momentarily going to have to put this one in, tie this game up. And a great response from Blackhand there. Maybe not the quickest flag run, but a great job by everyone on the team to kind of find their kills, bide their time, and then figure it out from there. It was sloppy, but the job got done still.
As long as you're still winning pips, just like Cortex, bottom mid, they're going to get more opportunities to pull the flags. Let's see if they can do it again. Got a teammate to work with. 2 on the opposite side. Bit of a pinch coming in both sides of the base. ESA Blue going to be forced to defend. Cortex looking for that first pick. Sylvanic takes one as well. Now at a numbers disadvantage. Blackhand slowly but surely, they're inching their way up for a pull here.
That's going to be 4 dead for ESA Blue. The pull, it's coming through. It's going to go out the window too, so it's going to be a quick run. Respawners coming through pink, and right now Bid teaches his job just to stay alive, and that's exactly what he's going to do. A beautiful job to react to a call out, finishes a kill. So not only did Blackhand get this second cap and take the lead, they still have control of the enemy base as long as Bid can stay alive. And look at that in the kill feed, he's continuing to do work before he gets taken down, and it's allowed, or I should say denied, any opportunity for a real counter cap, and in fact could turn into a double cap on the side of Blackhand as Slays once again come through.
Blackhand completely flipping momentum in this one. Cortex just waiting for a victim. Here comes a second here too. Heatwave, doesn't quite get him the kill. Flag not pulled out as well. So ESA Blue gonna fend off another challenge for a little longer. Reverb making good use of the Heatwave here back base. Pressure still not letting up though. Sylvanic back base as well. He'll pull flag at util. Got some teammates up top mid to help secure this run. They've got a chance with this again.
If you're ESA Blue, you need to find a way to get some kills. Unfortunately, Blackhand, they pick up 3. A player does come off spawn for ESA Blue, but that guy, he's going to be spawning pink side of the map. This flag's going to be on the move. They do fortunately have a player in the base that's able to throw the flag out, potentially buy some time, but he immediately tries to make a play. It was Cade that gets taken down on screen. Bid teaches off the respawn, finds a double, and this flag is going to give Blackhand a 3-1 lead here shortly.
Blackhand just picked it up. You take a look at that scoreboard. It's not even close. Pack having a rough game here as well. 3-13 currently.
Yeah.
Bid having an incredible one, though. 16-6. Sylvanic not too shabby. Just holding on with those assists as well. Everyone on Blackhand kind of coming together, getting their slays, and it's starting to show on the board here, too. ESA Blue needs to find some sort of an answer, some momentum of their own.
Yeah, for what we thought was going to be a very highly contested series in game 1, Blackhand's kind of taking the driver's seat here through the mid game. They've scored 3 unanswered flags, and like you stated, the slays are what's really the differential in the kill feed so far. But as I say that, Alleluia somehow, some way, getting the flag across unscathed, punches it in, and in the meantime, they've been able to make this a 3-2 game. So even though they're getting heavily outslayed, the game's still within striking distance. But for now, as the counter cap is a realistic opportunity here for Blackhand.
Things might change very quickly. Like you said, Pack does have a kill in the feed. Shakoi gonna find the trade. The flag's still moving. Big getting tagged up from behind. He leaves it behind, only to find a heat wave to delete him. Alleluia gonna get dropped as well. That flag is still looking to be returned. Pack's got the double dilemma, though. He pulls one out. He's still got slays to focus on. Camo heat wave to work with. Big plays. Out of Pack if he lives.
Oh my God.
Ends up being a very unfortunate trade. Flag's moving. I don't know, Wes.
I'm moving for both right now. It's a stalemate. If ESA Blue are able to get this return, they can tie it up, but at the same point, they risk the return. They go down 2 caps, and a potential 3rd cap could be on the move, similar to what we saw earlier in the standoff in the 0-0 score line. It's just a matter of, can you win the standoffs here? We saw Black Hand get the better of ESA Blue the first time around, and here comes the push. Black can't find the first kill. They lose a couple of members, though, and those kills are big for ESA Blue. They keep them in this game, and now we'll see if they have the aggression in them. Can they get the return? Can they get a 3rd or a 4th cap potentially on the move? Love the use of the dynamo grenades, and I have loved the idea of slowing this down, waiting for some teammates, but unfortunately, as he loses 2, he feels the pressure to push, potentially impact the game, and now they're going to have to come off respawn and play defense.
Especially because Cortex is already behind the enemy lines, apparently looking for multiple here. He'll find the 2. Teammate to work with. There goes Shikoy. That's a trade. Cortex trying to stay up. Just bobbing, weaving around. The cave does pick up the kill. Reverb will get dropped. Couple trades here, back blue. Ultimately, though, Pack will get the touch on the flag. They'll save it for now. They haven't done it yet, Wes, but they are definitely heavy on defense, right? They need to find that aggressive opportunity. Just, the more that they get battered, the only expectation is that they'll lose this.
No, absolutely. I think that was phenomenal defense. I wasn't sure if ESA Blue were going to be able to defend the push. It looked like they were not trading in a favorable DPS amount there, and somehow, some way, they do finally get the 3 kills, and that's just allowed the respawner to come through, and now they're going to have their opportunity here to push. They have a few kills to their names, but it doesn't look like anybody really in a position to try and push this last player top the base. But still, ESA Blue doing a much better job in this standoff of giving themselves an opportunity to tie this one up.
Scoreline not looking quite as lopsided as well as far as kills and deaths go. Still got some work to do to make up for it. Cave just holding on to flat. Cortex brawling bottom mid. Expect to see a few more of those as Shikoy is looking for one of his own. I think Cave might have got the back smack there too, just deletes him. Bid, oh, that is so clutch. Out of Bid. Even if he doesn't win the fight, though, it looks like teammates are nearby to double back for it, but just surviving, getting heat wave, having that kind of coverage. And then he moves up for timing here too. Gonna put this weapon to good use. They got to break out of this, flip the script.
It's going to be Black Hand on the defensive end here for a bit. Black Carrier doing a phenomenal job here on screen. It's going to be Bid Teaches, just not taking too much damage, making sure he can impact some of the push here from ESA Blue. You don't want to let them get all the way into your base, and as I say that, there was 3 momentarily dead for ESA Blue. This Flag Carrier has to play his life just about perfectly. It's going to be Cabe, and I like this by him. He throws it out pink side stairs, and as Cortex tries to push into the base, it's going to be a little bit more difficult given the angle. He is going to have a teammate hop the return. They're both going to hop it, and ESA Blue can't get there in time. That's going to be the cap, and a 2-cap lead with now 2 minutes left on the clock for ESA Blue to try and respond. A phenomenal job by Black Hand to expose that flag on the pink stairs, to get the slays, but more importantly, have 2 players hop the return.
ESA Blue, they're hurting now for sure. With less than 2 minutes on the clock, they can't really afford any mistakes. They might not have much time to do anything at this rate. You can see the flag now pulled. Actually, sorry, that's the opposite side. I am tripping out here. Cortex going to work with a teammate to get up through cars. They continue to get defensive and soon offensive kills. ESA Blue, they need to turn this one around in just about 30 seconds. Wes, so there's no shot.
Yeah, it's just so difficult right now because the mindset for Black Hand, it shifts. They can play Team Slayer, basically. They can play in a little bit more of a defensive mode. I like the aggression playing on ESA Blue's side of the map, but I would be shocked to see a flag pull here in the last minute and 15. They know that they have this one under wraps as long as they play Slayer, and they can get a couple of kills, force ESA Blue to struggle to get 1 flag on the move. And they're doing such a good job here, just making sure all of this combat takes play on ESA Blue's side of the map.
Just all too easy for Black Hand to take advantage of someone desperating to try to get to flag, right? Their options so limited. They need to push up. They'll just push up in the line of fire. Cave does have shocks to work with. That'll get things started, but 45 on the clock. They need a pull and somebody in the back of the base to pull another. Reaver with 2. That's a little opening. Cortex here to shut that down, though. Trades come in. ESA Blue, they still got some, I want to say some numbers. Just one, just one guy. One rogue Cave back base. And they'll milk his life until he is done. Less than 30 seconds. And I don't think it's possible, Wes.
No, it's not going to be possible, and that's the tough part of that stalemate and losing it, right? That flag stalemate costed probably 3 or 4 minutes off the clock. Even though it was a 1-cap game at the time, when the second Blackhand are able to get that return, you take a look at the score. It's a 2-cap lead. There's under 2 minutes remaining. And that kind of a situation is just so difficult for ESA Blue. They're forced to play aggressive. They're almost forced to progress on the map a little bit quicker than they would want. And because of that, Blackhand just gave themselves every bit of opportunity they needed to close the door on that game. It was a close game, one I would say. A couple of stalemates could have gone in ESA Blue's favor in order to change the outcome, but that's not the case. Blackhand clutch up in those 2 exact moments, and that's where the game was decided.
Right. As far as, flag caps and just exchanges that we saw, like that standoff, like you said, lasted for quite a while. But when it comes down to slays, there was a pretty, lopsided advantage over to Blackhand, especially in the beginning of that game. Things started to stabilize, but towards the end, Blackhand, they pulled away, often seeing them with the heat wave, with the thrust as well, but also just kind of the prize that you reap from when you get the kills on the map too. But just that is going to be so important. I think jumping into streets, though, the slaying ability out of Blackhand, here's hoping that ESA Blue can find something similar in a map that we know is going to go very quickly. Even just to throw back to last week, was it Alleluia? Or was it, I think it might have been Alleluia, who had that one little moment where he popped off with a triple in streets and that flipped the game around. I'm hoping we can see a little bit of that, like individual plays that can turn the tides of things before it's too late.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like a killing frenzy.
A frenzy on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty disgusting clip, but it was almost too little too late, right? It was like at towards the mid and the end of the game, and they had such a rough start that it was like attempting to bring them back into it. Mm-hmm. When in reality, you kind of need to make sure you stay within striking distance. So when a player makes those kind of plays, it makes the difference as far as the score line is concerned, right? As far as the outcome of the game, because once the game gets that one-sided, it's like you almost need that and more. You do need that and more in order to create the difference in the outcome. And unfortunately, Alleluia just not able to overcome everything that the team had received as far as the deficit's concerned. But we'll get into this one. We'll see if they have something better to say here on Street Slayer. But unfortunately, as we join this game, Shyway, it's a perfect start for Blackhand. So what looked like a very strong mid and late game from Blackhand there in game 1, we're seeing kick off here at the start of game 2 as well.
ESA Blue got to stabilize this and do it quick. So far, 4-kill advantage to work with. Alleluia, there you go, turning 2. Looking for another and trying to find that momentum early on. They can make up for the opening strat. Cave also in a great spot here for a nice pinch on spawners. There goes one. There's another one still up back A. She jumps out front. Alleluia might hear it. A little roundabout just to stay alive in this situation. As long as they can keep their numbers, they can start to push and snowball as well.
Vortex had some massive kills in game 1. We'll see what he can do in game 2, but a great job there by ESA Blue to pick up a few kills on the push from shotgun. They predicted it. They had great teamwork. They had great grenade placement. And with that, they actually take the lead. It's 8-7 now. All of a sudden, ESA Blue from a rough start are right back into this one and tie it up.
Alleluia still finding some pivs here, it seems. 4-1. We'll get caught by Teaches. There comes the comms. Cave gonna spot this as well, though. Pre-nades in, should keep the food chain going, but nice live out of bid. Teach is gonna force Cave to get close here. Oh, there he goes. Just little trades left and right. We're seeing fights scrappy at the moment. The moment they break away with that numbers advantage, though, is when things can start to snowball very quickly. Reverb knowing that, gonna work with the team to find some big slays here.
Yeah, massive slays because rockets are coming up, right? You should have an advantage now if you're ESA Blue to secure these rockets. The shotgun push is going to be a tough one to deal with, and as I said, they should have an advantage to get rockets. They throw some lives away. They don't expect the shotgun push, and because of that, they actually go 4 dead. They actually lose the rockets as well. And now Slavanic with the rockets in hand, does he know where ESA Blue are going to be hiding? They spawned into Tram, and he's in a perfect spot to try and deny anybody from pushing out. The first kill on the pack is a big one. Tries to play alive, stay alive. There's a guy bottom these stairs. He gets cleared out. Now all of a sudden ESA Blue having a very difficult time trying to get out of Tran now that rockets are in the hands of Blackhand. They're getting put to use, and it's going to be a complete perfect flip of the map here for Blackhand.
That thrust rocket combo is so difficult to deal with. Like, you see him jump forward. He wasn't ready for the shot, but the moment he spots him, thrusts back, corrects himself, ensures the kill instead of what could have been a trade. Either way, they're just kind of running through them at the moment. Cortex Going to tag him up as Sylvanic finishes it off. We got split spawners on the map, Cortex and Numbers to continue to win fights. Straight up 1v1s like that, though. If you're not winning those, things just continue to fall apart. You can see them now spawning C with a lack of resources here.
Yeah, you touched on it. This is where the game gets just so difficult for ESA Blue, and where so many teams we see just struggle keeping up with the pressure that's about to be on them. Look at this, stuck into Tram. It's a complete black hand push. They go 4 for 1 right there. And right now, a 30-20 difference, as it was all tied up before those rockets came up. A couple of flips of the map almost perfectly from Blackhand have blown this game wide open. And this is the difficult part of Halo Infinite, where the good teams, they figure out ways to weather the storm. They figure out ways to trade in disadvantageous positions. Right now, ESA Blue having a very difficult time of trading some kills with Blackhand with every advantage to their disposal.
Just seeing the weapons constantly. There we go. Big play at a reverb. Every single life, you've got someone on Blackhand with a shotgun or a stalker or a thrust. Somehow he didn't get that kill. Flying directly in for it. Pack does find the rockets at the very least. 10 kill deficit, make it 11. ESA Blue, no matter where they look, they find a trade. And that's not what they want at this point. They need some guaranteed slays. They need to hold their numbers, and I'm not sure if it's even in the cards. Seeing it now.
And I touched on it at the start of the series. It says Shyway and Bid, they've impressed me a little bit with their young careers so far. I'm starting to recognize their names more and more. Sylvanic and Cortex are actually the ones leading this game, 15 kills apiece, and they're being aggressive. They're hitting shots. They're applying the pressure they need to. They're showing you that when they're given an opportunity to have success, they will take it.
Definitely slaying. Hallelujah. We saw him turn things around a little earlier in that game last week. It might be too late now, but who knows? He gets a frenzy. That's a completely different situation. Either way, he's got to get something started, and it looks like Blackhand are not going to budge. They've got the perimeter out top map. Don't need to give up positioning if they don't want to. Can move up off a pick here. Reverb. Oh, look at 2 are already dead. Sylvanic Bid. Going to find their opening picks. Expect Hallelujah to be swarmed in just a second. And they're not getting trades.
So difficult right now. And I mean, this one, it's going to be over here shortly. It's just a matter of will they secure the stake or not with another kill from the side of ESA Blue. And what was once potentially a very close series. A couple of kills coming through for ESA Blue, so a good job by them to get the kills, but was once a very close series in the CTF. You can tell how like momentum is such a real thing, right? That Blackhand, they dominate the later half of the CTF, and because of that, it feels like they have all the confidence going into game 2. That confidence shining here in game 2, giving them a very convincing lead, and that's part of the practice we talked about before the series started, as far as playing in a tournament format, right?
Yeah.
It's 50-35, and all of a sudden Blackhand look like the much better team, but it's really not the case. They're just gaining that confidence, gaining that momentum, and playing around it. And that's a beautiful thing to have, especially knowing Orlando's coming up. You're going to have opportunities to find success in like a game 1 of a tournament. On the side of ESA Blue, you're going to have to learn how to lose game 1 and rebound much quicker. Yeah. You're going to have to weather the storm, because I guarantee you don't plan on going to Orlando without dropping a map or dropping a first map in a series, right? So this is learning experience for everybody involved. Blackhand doing a good job of when they get momentum, to ride that momentum. I think that's a much easier task at hand rather than like rebounding from a tough loss, especially a game that was quote unquote winnable in game 1. Game 3, we'll see if ESA Blue can turn this one around, or if Blackhand are going to continue to ride that momentum.
Right. Running out of options, opportunities, to turn things around, to get that second wind. Streets was rough, right? A lot of confidence out of Blackhand for sure. Cortex, Sylvanic kind of dominating that feed, always got weapons, but even when they didn't, like we saw that perfect out BR with Cortex, just squaring off, winning fights, and that's, I guess the benefit of momentum, and also maybe these players are just some cracked kids on the come up as well. They're looking damn good. But so is ESA Blue, right? We've seen that same kind of brilliance. So here's hoping that something's a little different on Stronghold's live fire. I know Streets can tend to be a landslide, especially when the opening strat goes the way it did. Like we right off the rip saw 4-0 to start the game, even though they did kind of level it out. They were always kind of, biting from the back. So maybe
it was that second pair of rockets, right?
That really did it. Stronghold's live fire, you're not going to get a rocket launcher. The sniper can have, I guess, a similar effect if you're hitting your shots, but in general, then again, though, I've seen a full map lockdown and this just domination here too. I just want to believe there's more opportunities to stabilize here in Strongholds.
I definitely think there is more opportunity, but there's also more opportunity to snowball. It's just a matter of how like impactful some of the strategy that they're going to display on the move. Because in a brief moment's notice on Strongholds, you're going to have to make the decision: do we overextend towards C? Do we just play for A? Like, what's it going to be? And if these teams aren't on the same page, it'll very quickly snowball out of control, especially when a trip cap is underway. We're underway in gameplay right now, however, and it is a much better start for ESA Blue, already having 2 kills to their names. Does look like B is going to go in favor of Blackhand here early, so it's going to be early points going towards Blackhand. You have to think ESA Blue need this overshield in order to subside this early aggression.
And they definitely do. Thanks to Hallelujah, it looks like they do collect it. And how much mileage will they get off of it, though? Reverb already got teammates over on A. Looks like he will get aggressive. He's running into 2, though. About to be melted very quickly. In a couple days, not quite going his way. He's going to have to link up with the teammates. Of course, if you're just jumping in, though, best of 5 series here are Game 3. This is ESA Blue's final opportunity to find something. And here's hoping they find it early in this game rather than later. If the stories told us anything, it's that comebacks are not easy, especially against Blackhand at the moment.
We'll see if they can get out of control quickly. Right now, it's going to be difficult to push Sylvanik here back tower. We'll see if they have what it takes. Unfortunately, Pac Mandela being the first one to go down is going to make ESA Blue's opportunity here to break this setup a little bit weaker. There's a couple of players around B, but right now, Cortex doing a phenomenal job with the repulsor, staying alive at B, making sure he finds one with the repulsor off the map as well. An easy kill for him. And Black can continue control for now.
Cortex just roaming back green. Doesn't need to rotate just yet. Can just lock things down with the sight line. I believe OS coming up shortly, though. That might pull the team one direction. We'll see. Sylvanik and team already working on C. Looks like Cave comes out with an opening kill, though. Good timing for it. Trade comes in. Cortex going to get involved. Picks up Hallelujah. OS now up.
Good shots.
Taking the rotation with good timing here, too. High ground to work with. Numbers advantage. Tough spot for ESA Blue, and they're still holding B and C while they make the chow here. But ESA Blue, they're going to come in with numbers. Oh, wait a second. Cortex just finessing here back OS. Don't tell me. Oh, he almost managed to grab it. Sylvanik still has work to do. But as time goes on here, ESA Blue, they're kind of winning the tug-of-war here.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to be winning when they're the ones in control of B and C, and they're continuously just competing for this overshield. So the longer that ESA Blue spin trying to compete for this, the more the score will continue to be indexed towards Blackhand's hands. Fortunately, they have now secured the overshield. They have 3 dead. Now, this is where we're going to see strategy be displayed, right? Are they going to overextend? How many people are they going to leave in C? How many people are they're going to send to B? Are they going to try and push the respawners over at A as well? They need to get this last player alive out of B. They need to capture B and potentially try and push a trip cap to make up for this deficit that they've built so early in this game.
BC locked down. So far, so good there. Do they get aggressive on spawners, though? Looks like no, just yet. Not just yet, at least. Snipe is up.
You gotta be careful here.
Yeah, Blackhand looking for a couple opening picks here. Sylvanik already gets one. Hallelujah finds bid teaches. They can double up with each other, though Cabe's got something else planned. Maybe the push should have been... Well, you know what? There's a beautiful shot. I take it back, man.
It's a shotgun, by the way.
Yeah. Looking for a second. Not quite going to find it, though. There's the repulse. And apparently a snipe, too, in the hands of Reverb.
S7 now. Something that can really change the momentum like you were talking about, but doesn't really have an angle on some of these players. Doesn't expect a player to be back mud already either. And although that player is going to relocate to bottom middle, he's going to leave Reverb wondering where he went. This is going to be the same player jumping up Brutes, and now Reverb with his pants caught down trying to look back mud. A great relocation here from this player. Reverb trying to play his life. Unfortunately, all he's going to do is waste some of that snipe ammo, and what a beautiful play we saw from that individual on Blackhand. Not quite sure who it actually was, but I mean, for his impact right there to make sure Reverb wasn't able to do too much work with the S7, that was something that is going to impact the outcome of the game. But in the meantime, Hallelujah has found himself an overshield, a kill, and looks to be on the move towards B. And if you look at the bottom, they're going to be able to control A and B with potential pressure onto C with this overshield. This is where ESA Blue can get back into this one with a few kills.
Things looking a lot more stable, for sure, for ESA Blue at this point. Even looking at the scoreboard, relatively even on the slays. Hallelujah finding another. And Black Hand, their 100-point run kind of stopped short near the OS play earlier on. They haven't picked up too much time since. ESA Blue, for the most part, just been slowly collecting, slowly bringing it back. Cabe looking to hold on to the control he's gained here. Might be in trouble in just a second. You got players above and below. Where do you look? Comes out with a trade, I believe, at the very least. And Reverb here just holding the green gun. Get near him.
Game slows down. Map control in favor of ESA Blue. Great job to weather the storm from Black Hand right there. But right now you can tell Reverb needs to make a decision. Has to make his way over to B because it has been a B push for the side of Black Hand. Unfortunately, he's late to the party. Picks up a kill to kind of potentially make the defense a little bit weaker. But in the meantime, 2 strongholds transferred over by Black Hand. Just great objective from Black Hand there. As A does get transferred for ESA Blue, they flip the map perfectly, and the entire time Reverb looked for an opportunity to impact the game, but just guessed wrong.
Bid Teaches, in the meantime, just running it down mid. Gonna find one below him here as well. Cheeky fight to take. So many situations I find myself there just trying to get a hopeful stick from down below, but Bid not worried about it. He's got the snipe and the OS to fight for. Cortex here to help. Nice little double up. That cleans up 1. Cortex still with shields. Finds 2. Finds the extra padding. They can get aggressive off of this. With the hold that they have, they're pushing for a trip cap now. We got our spawners split now back B. It's a rough spot for ESA Blue.
And look at Cortex. If he's able to be aggressive here, he's going to split spawn them across the map. He needs to find this kill back B, but he's already done the split spawn work. Shakoi's going to be able to pick up that kill. They are going to lose C, but you want B over C. You want to be able to hold a more traditional setup where you're able to rotate a little bit quicker between A and B or B and C. One of the two rather than a C setup, I would say. And great kill to withstand the push from the C players over from ESA Blue. And like that, Black Hand back in charge, continuing to score. And Shyway, if you look at the score, although it feels like we've had a little bit back and forth here in the mid game, it's been all Black Hand in the scoreline.
Yeah, everything's changed for sure. I had my little moment saying ESA Blue have stabilized it, and since I said that, maybe I cursed them. I'm not sure, Wes, but everything has completely flipped. 206 on the board. ESA Blue will stop the bleeding, only to die to Cortex, make it another double for this man. He's been popping off 16 and 8 on the board. No doubt a big part of the reason why ESA Blue finds themselves struggling. He'll hop into B as well. Doesn't quite get the reset on that one. Shakoi here to hopefully pick up the pieces. He's just looking for a couple stylish close-range snipes.
That's how you lose a game right there, is you make mistakes like that. You try to get a little flashy. We'll see if ESA Blue can capitalize on the mistake made from the side of Black Hand. Going for a no-scope onto a no-shield player. If you're Cortex, you're scratching your head. Why the hell didn't you finish my kill? If you're Black Hand, mistakes like that, maybe not coming back to haunt you here, but they can in the future. Not something you definitely want to preach. And a good job by Black Hand to come off respawning, find their kills. They find 3 dead. They look to push A, B, and C. It's a trip cap opportunity for Black Hand to try and end this one. And right now, ESA Blue trying to secure the overshield, but an even better job by Bid Teaches to find 2, making an assist to deny the overshield. And with all 4 dead, ESA Blue have about 1 life left to try and determine if they want to stay in this series.
Look at the pre-nades. He's like, they're either back B or they're spawning in this corner at A garage, and he's got the second one correct for sure.
Bid.
Look at Bid looking for more. Doesn't need to find the kill at this point, though. 240 locked in. The pack going to sit and see just to stop the timer, but that timer is going to continue to tick here. Less than 10 seconds to close it out. Pack doesn't have the shields to get aggressive. He's got his teammates up on Nest, but 49 and 50 to close out our game 3 in a 3-0 Black Hand. No doubt they came to play.
Came to play and played very good. Cortex really impressing me the most here throughout this series. A player I didn't know too much about coming in is the standout player for this Black Hand roster. And these guys, they look solid. They looked like they knew what they were doing when it came down to rotations, when it came to efficient objective play, when they were able to pick up kills. They were able to not only get all 4 dead when they needed to on ES Blue, especially in that game 3, but I mean, their stronghold, their objective play, right? Their ability to transfer over strongholds very quickly while getting those kills is going to make a difference while they try to go on some of these runs, right? It's going to be something that they can rely on to keep them in games, to gain advantages in games like they did here. And that's not something you see from like a top 24 team or on. So that Blackhand team, very hopeful for probably their best placings in their careers going into Orlando. If they can play like that, they may just as well do it.
Definitely. And I wonder if they can keep playing like this. So far, so good for the Friday for Blackhand. Unfortunately for ESA Blue, they will be taken out of the tournament. It's a single Elim Friday. These Fridays go by quick. If you don't win it, then that's it for you. Hopefully they can go back and learn something, though, I think, as well, right? A much more, I want to say, more closely contested series than what we witnessed last week. A little bit more to maybe take away from it on the side of ESA Blue, but you hope that they come back swinging, come back with a force. In the meantime, can't wait to see where Blackhand goes. Of course, we got 2 more teams left to go up very soon as well, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's send it back to Yeso, though. Get his thoughts on the last series.
Definitely a tightly contested start to that series. Of course, we kicked it off on CTF, on Aquarius, and things were close for a little while. Esports Arena Blue hanging on there with Blackhand, but ultimately Blackhand come out with the 3-0 win in this series. And let's go back to that CTF game, because that really changed the entire momentum of this series. Because when you start off kind of trading back and forth, you're keeping things close. You've got to be building a lot of confidence there on the Esports Arena Blue side. But both Clutch and Shyway did a good job of pointing out the kind of knock-on effects of that stalled, lengthy lock between both teams at that 3-2 scoreline, right? You've got Esports Arena Blue trying to make a play to tie things up, Blackhand trying to get that extra bit of cushion with that 4th capture to really give themselves some comfort going into the end of that game. And not only does that kind of stalemate go and ultimately in the favor of Blackhand grabbing that 4th capture, but the amount of time that it consumed, and Clutch made a good point of kind of pointing out how much time off the clock was eaten just during that stalemate. And then not only do you lose all that time, but you end up losing essentially that trade, and now it's a 2-point deficit for your squad. Can really just take so much of the wind out of your sails, and it really just limits the opportunity you have to come back in that game. And Blackhand did a good job of putting the finishing touches on that first game, giving them the win, the lead, and the momentum in this series. And Slayer was tight a little bit as well. Blackhand starting to really kind of pull away around that 25 to 30 point mark, and then it just kind of snowballed even further from there, because then you go into strongholds, and it was certainly the most dominant game of the series from Blackhand. They really kind of took that early lead, ran away with it throughout, and did such a good job playing just really clean, fundamental Halo, and it was really impressive to watch. And Esports Arena Blue, you know, as Shyway aptly pointed out, some things to learn from. Definitely a lot of positives that you can look at, especially when you compare it to a series last week where it really never felt like ESA Blue was ever in that series. This one certainly much closer despite the 3-0 scoreline. So we'll have to see what kind of takeaways Blue will have this week. Of course, they can go back, talk with Coach Clutch, and see kind of what observations he had from this series. Hopefully some things they can learn, some things that they can build on and continue to progress, because of course, again, everybody's eyes still remain on Orlando. That is what everybody is building towards, and that's going to be a huge opportunity for a lot of teams. We of course are still preparing here for this second series of the day. Esports Arena Red, of course, coming off of their first Friday grand final a week ago. They did lose that grand final, but the series that they played against Abigoats was a huge stepping stone for the squad. And I got to talk with Clutch last week, and one of the things he talked about very particularly with Esports Arena Red is they get better the longer these series go. You know, the short series are almost always not going to work in their favor, but when they're playing against these solid teams, if they can get to a game 4, a game 5, they get better as the series goes along. So that'll likely be a goal here for Red today, is can you lengthen that series? Can you just create more opportunities, get to game 4 and 5? You are unlikely to see them sweep a lot of these top teams, and that's understandable. A lot of skill in these rosters, and there will be a lot of skill in the team they're playing against here very soon. But if you can give yourself more opportunities to compete, lengthen these games, really kind of drag it out, I think there's a lot of opportunities for Red to succeed, and we will see if they are able to do so here today. Do want to remind you folks, before we get ready for this next series, it is still VIZIO week here at Series E and Esports Arena, and we are doing an awesome giveaway this week, so make sure to get in on the fun. Hit ! Giveaway down in Twitch chat to get the link that you need to enter. Make sure you do so today. I believe the giveaway ends tomorrow, so do not waste time. Get in the giveaway, try and win some awesome stuff there. If we are ready to go, though, for our next series. We are going to go to a break first. So we're going to hit this quick break. When we come back, though, Shyway and Clutch will have all of the action here for our other series in the first round, so don't go far.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Hello there, and welcome back to Series E, our Halo Friday. If you've just tuned in, we just had a matchup that was, unfortunately for ESA Blue, a 3-0. Fortunately for Blackhand, they're looking deadly today. They're waiting in grand finals of today. In the meantime, on the other side of our bracket, Wes, we've got ESA Red, and I can't wait to see how they're coming to play. They have quite a competitor, though, in Forbidden Fruit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting chance to see Forbidden Fruit go up and see what they can bring to the table. A roster that I think has a ton of talent, a roster that I think has a ton of potential, but will they be able to put the pieces together? I'm actually kind of interested in seeing this roster grow and where it will land come Orlando, come potentially Worlds, because I do think that they are a team that is on the outside looking in on that bubble thresh that could potentially compete for a World's position, right? I think that a top 12 performance wouldn't shock me out of the likes of Envor, Arctic, and Hysteria, right? Like, those names feel like should be playing at a World Championship, but they may not have the placings that they would expect to as of yet. I know that they are one of the top AM teams or one of the top open bracket teams, like looking into that top 16. They may even be like one of those top 16 teams still seeded, but I feel like they're still yet to find their final form. They're still yet to hit their stride. And when they do hit their stride, how good is this team? Because I have high hopes for Envor at the start of the year. I think leaving Fnatic wasn't necessarily the worst decision he could have made. And obviously, when he finds himself onto this roster, he's got to have high hopes for them, because what he had for Fnatic was going to be a potential top 6, top 4 roster at the best. And that's something that he's got to hold himself and his teams to that level. I think Tony Two Turn's actually nasty as well. So, I mean, the whole roster has a ton of is just littered with individual skill. It's just a matter of, can they put the pieces together in order to like be successful as a team, because that's what it's going to take to have success in the top 12 and the top 16.
Which makes this matchup a pretty perfect proving grounds, I think, for them, because ESA Red, no slouch, right? Like, they continue to improve every single week to the point where they're a dangerous team to go up against, and a great opportunity for Forbidden Fruit to showcase what they're capable of. If they do win this, and they win this comfortably, then you do start to wonder how much farther can they take it. Is this a team that goes the distance with Worlds? If they don't win this, then I wonder what happens from there, right? ESA Blue, Red, they're hungry. They continue to kind of punch past where we expect them to. I think they got a win last week. They ended up going up against, I know, Renegade and Crew last week as well, so a tough one. But when you see them find these wins and find, games on FaZe, you start to wonder, like, who's going to be the team that they take down that's the big upset, right? And Forbidden Fruit, I think, is a great start for that. So just some great kind of dialogue, I think, on both sides to work with here, Wes. Of course, our series layout in front of us as well. Best of 5, Strongholds Recharge, Slayer Live Fire, Catalyst Ctf, King of the Hill Streets, and Slayer Aqua. If we get there, I think this series could definitely get there. Wes, we could be going Game 5.
Could be, and we said that last time around. So it may just be a matter of just a team gaining confidence or losing confidence in game one. You gotta wonder how stable these teams are mentally, right? Because that's something to take into account for teams that are newly formed or teams that haven't gone through ebbs and flows of losing at tournaments, of winning at tournaments, winning big series, losing important games that are close in series. Like things like that change the outcome of not only just one game, but of an entire series, of a team's like future. And I don't think that can be overstated or understated enough. I think that there's been tons of successful or tons of like very high potential teams with a ton of skill, similar to like a Forbidden Fruit, where maybe they lose a series like this and they're never the same after, because there's kind of like an attitude or a mentality. And I'm not saying that anybody on Forbidden Fruit has that, but I'm just saying, like, as an example, things can go wrong quickly, and it's how do these players that have futures or have history in the Halo, like, and expectations, how do they deal with those losses at times? We're gonna have to see if Forbidden Fruit even sees one of those losses. ESA Red in a very similar boat. They're all very young. They should be hungry. They should be able to like stay focused and dialed in. We'll see if they are able to early on here. We are in the gameplay, and ESA Red does get off to a nice start. It's going to be a trip cap actually for them, and picking up right where they kind of left off in the first round of last week. They were dominant, Shyway, and I loved everything I saw out of everyone on the roster. We'll see if they can replicate that and find that level of consistency as well.
Well, Wes, I'm liking the sound of this series, and I'm liking everything I see out of ESA Red's gameplay so far as well. Though Gunplexion, unfortunately, does die as I say it. That's 4 kills for him to start, a trip cap, and 44 points in counting. Of course, still holding on to 2 here, but ESA Red, look at the confidence out of these boys to start the game. A reset on the B. Ikshana looking to get out of this dicey territory. He can go for the 1v1 top A. Be a tough fight to win. Jumping over nades to get there. Looks like he's a one-shot. Ooh. Conveniently for him, that'll give him back, hopefully, some control.
Yeah.
Just dicey for now.
Double for Tony as he tries to play his life. A great repulsor to continue to play his life as best he can. Unfortunately, the last 2 players going to be all focused on taking the 2 turn down. And right now, it's a good start for ESA Red, but they didn't really build up a significant lead with that trip cap, which is good news for Forbidden Fruit. They stay in this one for now, but it's going to be ESA Red coming off spawn, finding a few kills. More importantly, control of A and B. And now they have to deal with Hysteria with Sword, but they're going to have map control in order to do so. But great shots from Hysteria, great damage right here. They should be able to find an opening off that pick.
And it's good to see Hysteria just sit there and pepper those players cross-map, give his teammates the freedom to get the camo instead of worrying about immediately rotating for Hill. Now he's got a spree, still finding kills. They got BC locked down. Oh, that nade will clip them. Too nice. Going to get back to some safety here as they try to lock down the one hill they've got. They do have some progress on C. No safety to get there, and main reason being Envor in the middle of it. There we go. Nade cleans him up, though, despite the camo.
Back on the Tony screen, trying to deny C from being transferred over. A great aggressive push there through the grenades withstands the damage. Him and Hysteria both find a kill, and they get the reset. More importantly, they continue to score. They continue to make up for the trip cap they gave up early on. And Forbidden Fruit right now starting to find some momentum. Good job to switch to Commando, but you want to hit the shots, and maybe not having the right gun out is going to cost Tony 2 turn there. Is switching in the middle of the fight a very difficult thing to come to make up for as far as the DPS is concerned. He pays for it with his life. Just like that, they lose a couple of players. They still are continuing to score. They actually have the lead now, Shyway, but it's only a matter of time if they continue to drop. And right now it's a massive play from Tony that could potentially stop A, but there's just too many players to deal with. And ESA Reddit are going to do a phenomenal job here to not only get A, but they're hopping into B as well. They're going to flip the map completely.
At least that's the attempt. Too nice going to slide in, try to do that. Teammate there to make it happen. A little crossfire to hopefully get the kills here, too. Too nice force to rotate out. Stan just walking it down the attic as I say it. Not quite going to hit the shot he needs. Unfortunately, put himself in a position where if he doesn't hit the shot, he's dead. Now, too nice last one up here, too. Looks like he's on a chase for a kill of his own. So at least one thing going to go right on the side of A. But that scoreline, what was once looking pretty for ESA Blue, has completely flipped. Map pick control, Forbidden Fruit, camo now up, or at least will be up, and we'll see if Forbidden Fruit still has eyes on it.
Forbidden Fruit actually opting to overextend towards A. They're going to flip the map. They can't quite get the kill onto Paradigm quick enough. And because of it, they're able to have a momentary AC cap. But just like that, they finally get the kill. They switch A over. And this AB setup with shock rifle and pipes, this could be dangerous. But a great job to make slight work of Hysteria early in that setup. It's going to be the camouflage player. He only finds out a trade as Tony Two-Turn is able to trade that kill out, remove camo from the map. But a good job by ESA Red, honestly, in this situation, because that's where it once again could have gotten ugly. Back and forth, these two teams are switching control. We're seeing a much more highly contested battle of rotations here, and just overall solid stronghold play from both these two teams here in this series.
I know it's kind of an afterthought at this point. I mean, beautiful shot out of Too Nice, but the grapple movement out of Arctic there in that situation, when he dropped down, he had not activated sprint when he did his grapple, which means normally it's tough to slide, right? If you just do a standard, like, standing grapple, he hit sprint, slide in the air, activated sprint, so he could slide the instant he hit the ground and still get a grapple slide despite his lack of momentum. It's just a little thing, but just that fast rotation got him back to C, kept him alive, and now he's still living, by the way, with the sword. Of course, till that trade comes in, but little plays like that gonna help them inch forward here.
Eventually, all four members are taken down. One last player spawns, and Pipes gets a kill onto Tony, but damage is being done right now. Shyway, A and C are in control for Forbidden Fruit. ESA Red still in the lead, but back and forth these two teams go, and the Sways just about cut down the middle as well. So this game, at the midpoint, it's going to be all tied up here shortly.
Closely contested as we expected, I think, so can't complain. McShauna, though, he's got an uphill road to climb. And Onboard Hysteria already killed 2, so there he goes as well. Map now cleared out. Forbidden Fruit with the opportunity and the time and control. And here we are back with them as Hysteria takes the 3rd cap.
Let's see what Tony can do. A lot of rave about this kid's individual skill. And he display it for us here and now. The shock rifle, it's only going to get him an assist, but good awareness to have another player in Pipes on the move. 3 dead for ESA Red. And Tony, he's done his job. Although it wasn't flashy, it was well executed, well timed. And right now, with all of ESA Red spawning over at Blue, this could be a very significant lead for Forbidden Fruit, especially if Tony's able to find a pick.
Oh, no way. Not like this. Just trying to cap C, getting nicked by the shock at the same time. Also delays their rotation, too. They're all there together, bunched up. Tony with an opportunity to take ahead here in this situation. Arctic also going to, keep him trapped in the center. Make Too Nice think twice about which direction
so much damage
to go. Like you said, just outputting damage, opening things up for Arctic and team to just break through the front doors confidently. Make that a team wipe once again. Now C locked down. That'll flip the spawns, but Arctic already ready for that.
And I was watching Forbidden Fruit in the open earlier this week, and Tony grabbed the disruptor, immediately started pounding the B stronghold with it as well to remove a player from it. So that's like a common strategy that he's just like conscious of all times. Like never in a game does it just slip his mind that that's an option. And I love the idea that he's understands the game from that standpoint and is so comfortable with some of the meta that he's able to immediately transition from I need to shoot players in the head to hey, this stronghold can give me an advantage. It's given Forbidden Fruit every advantage they need. They now have over 245 points. They're about to win this one outright.
Damn, it was close for about half the game, Wes, and then all of a sudden Forbidden Fruit pulled away. And I think really just the shock plays we saw to Tony, and like you said, the little extra links that he went through to keep that damage up really ensured that team collapse and kind of locked out the second half of that game. I think it gets wild when it gets to the point where players, by the way, will throw their weapon down around a corner and then shoot it with the disruptor.
And then shock it.
That's like, wow, they're really trying to get nerdy. If you're one shot, though, and you can't afford the peak, then technically speaking, like, who knows, close quarters, you might find something cheeky. Either way, Forbidden Fruit, they came to play today.
Absolutely. They look good when they got control. And honestly, ESA Red looked good at several moments throughout that game. It's just a little bit of an overextending story, a difficult time pushing the advantages that they had. Like that early trip cap should have amounted to probably a little bit more than what it did, but that's also testament to how Forbidden Fruit was going to be able to weather that storm and counter the strat and come off respawn at a difficult spot and find a way to get a kill. But that's what the individual skill will give you a lot of the time. On the side of Forbidden Fruit is we have a lot of great players. We have a lot of opportunity to create space and openings with our skill, and that's what they were able to do. For ESA Red, when you're looking back at that theater, when you're looking back at that game, where did it all go wrong? When Tony Two-Turn had that shock rifle, you got to figure out a way to either kill him or suppress him to where he's not just putting in that much free damage. Yeah. Because although it just looked like a couple of shock rifle shots onto the player catwalk, he gets the kill, a couple of shock rifle shots onto the player in the actual BR tower, but or into control, and he's not able to like find a kill there. Every time he's hitting those shock rifle shots, it's doing chain damage. Right. Like because those players are standing so close to each other, everyone in that tower is receiving a little bit of damage, and that's why when we flipped over to his teammate Arctic's screen, those players were all weak, looking like they were trying to stay alive and were being pushed because Arctic's like, oh, there's 3 weak in tower, like let me go clean up these kills. And of course they have another teammate pushing from top, and it's little damage that, or it's shock rifle shots that maybe weren't flashy from Tony's screen that amounted to just so much opportunity for his team to capitalize on.
Also makes you wonder if it's a product of a bit of a poor rotation as well, right? Typically you want somebody flanking Attic to hopefully annoy Tony, make it tough for him to just shock everybody over in control. Either way, it is water under the bridge. We got to move on in the series. Game 2 here, Slayer, Live Fire, and ESA Red. If they want to pop back in this one, you want Too Nice to make a play. You're just waiting in anticipation. Okay.
Misses the easy one.
Oh!
And pays for it with his life. A massive kill. And right there, a kill that, honestly, Too Nice is known for getting, right? This is a difficult spot here for ESA Red. They wanted to start this one off hot. They still have the lead, but they've given up what seemed to be a massive opportunity for them to, like, almost run away with the lead in that moment. And we'll see if Arctic's able to make up a difference here. He's got a plasma pistol in his back pocket, and he does just enough damage to find the melee. Not a kill Paradigm wants to trade in that situation as well. It's all tied up, but ESA Red on the unfavorable side of a few advantage opportunities so far here early in game 2, and you have to wonder if that snowballed from the mentality of the loss in game 1.
Only time will tell. And Hysteria, yeah, not worried about time there as he flies into 2. Looks like a third is in position to kill him, so just rough go there for Hysteria. Teammates, though, coming in to pick up the slack. Make it 12 on the board. Arctic looking for another. Saw some beautiful movement out of him earlier to just sprint, close the distance, get that melee trade. It's great for him. And then those situations you want to think back and say, you know, what can you do to avoid those melees, right? Those the ones that you don't need to take. Don't need that extra damage. Looks like the team's working together here, though, to find an advantage.
Ikshana needing to stay alive. Last player alive for ESA Red right now. Takes a ton of damage. You want to see him kind of relocate here. Not a really favorable spot to fight from, and because he doesn't decide to get out of there, ends up paying for it with his life. And now as they try to contest this second overshield, ESA Red gonna have a member missing. They are gonna win the battle over towards Brutes, but they're gonna have to deal with Tony Two-Turn now up towards the grenades, and he actually ends up getting a double, a massive double. In fact, the overshield's still gonna be down. Ikshana's still looking for it, can't quite find it, and this is where that scan can be oh so crucial to a player's gameplay, and it doesn't look like he's been able to find that overshield. I'm not sure if a teammate's been able to acquire it or where it went, but in the meantime, he is able to relocate. Doesn't spend too much time looking for the overshield. I'm probably certain that someone else picked it up, but at this point, he's willing to give up that situation and go help his team.
Especially with the snipe spawning top mid, got to make sure you've got that control. It looks like Forbidden Fruit will find it, though. 2 kills already on the board here. 25 total. Envor already tagging one off spawn. The rest somehow going to spawn there as well. This is a perfect spot for Envor to collapse. And with that, the snowball begins. Numbers advantage to work with. Too nice trade to stagger it. Where's the snipe, though, right? You only expect it to be in the hands of Forbidden Fruit.
Still playing his life back green. Still just ton of damage, something that Envoy is so good at. Unfortunately, eventually he gets taken down. As he bought enough time for the team to show up is the question. Good round of slays for USA Red here. With a player alive, top grenades, they need to find a way to rotate towards Overshield because it's coming up in 5.
Oh, this turned into a nice little flank. Added too nice. Looks like there's another one nearby, too. Weak player. Should be a quick cleanup. Ixana there to help. That's an OS on their body. So what was once a deficit not looking so bad anymore. They could close the gap very quickly here. Just 3 kills to make up for it. 1 over an A. Very split on the map here, Forbidden Fruit. Hysteria down for the count. Ixana still working off the OS. Nate coming in. Beautiful little execution. Make it a double. Momentum swing all of a sudden here, Wes.
Yeah, all of a sudden, ESA Red feeling a little bit more confident, feeling a little bit more space to play around. We'll see if they're able to use this opportunity to gain a lead. Forbidden Fruit in a real difficult position right now. Great job by Gunplexion here to find himself a double. Continue the pressure, continue to flip the map, but look at this. Paradigm finds one in the feed. 2 more down for Forbidden Fruit. You want to see them continue to push the pace here. They want to win this one. It's a 5-kill lead now all of a sudden for USA Red. So once they've gained this lead, once they've acquired that Overshield, look at what it's transitioned to. It's in transition to basically an opportunity to in-game 2 in their favor and tie this series up.
They found confidence, for sure. You can see Forbidden just trying to slow down the pace of play. They found each other linked up to stay alive. Tony dead in the feed, though. 40 points accomplished. Nice little trade out with Stan. Bait and switch with the heat wave and meets 3. Make it 4. The whole team rotating together. And if it wasn't working solo, then why not play with the boys? Here you go. Make it 3 dead. All of a sudden, as they bounce right back here now at 38 for Forbidden Fruit.
You didn't think Forbidden Fruit was going to go quietly into the night, did you?
Definitely not.
With Overshield coming up, this could be where the game's decided. USA Red have to find a way to make some ground here, but it's a beautiful flank from Hysteria that's not suspected. It's going to be a double. Can he get the triple? He gets another player to no shield, finds damage onto a 4th, and that's it. The Hysteria has made the play to make this not only a 1-kill game, but to give Arctic the Overshield. And now we'll see how Forbidden Fruit want to approach this one. I believe they're going to have the S7 in hand as well. It's going to be Tony 2 turn top middle. He does lose that snipe, but this Overshield's still intact in a 3v3 situation. It's going to give Arctic every bit of opportunity he needs to try and be aggressive.
Wow. And you would think that that would lead to an advantage for Forbidden Fruit, but somehow look at this out of ESA Red. They out-rotated Arctic.
Great job.
Made his OS completely useless. Picked up slays along the way. Now they got 48. Looking to close the game. A snipe into the body and too nice with the cleanup. And all of a sudden, ESA Red bounce out of what looked grim, honestly, Wes. They played that beautifully to take a game.
Unbelievable job by them to, like you said, isolate Arctic out of the situation. They find out where the Overshield player is. They get the kills on the other side, and then they deal with Arctic later, right? That's a great way of negating the potential impact that Overshield player is going to have. Because once Arctic is able to try and get into the combat loop, he's too late. He's a step behind, and that's a little bit of a blunder on Forbidden Fruit's Forbidden Fruit's push as well, right? You want that Overshield player probably leading the charge, absorbing a lot of that DPS and the focus as the rest of the players are able to capitalize, instead of being that player that gets behind the enemy team and is there to try and clean up some of the kills, especially around that green area where you turn a corner and you can all of a sudden play your life so well, especially when the enemy team doesn't have a ton of angles to work with. And they're going to want that one back, but a phenomenal job by ESA Red. What looked like was going to be a travesty as they lost the battle for that Overshield. Hysteria's push was flawless top middle, gets 4 players. Impactly finishes 2 kills, gets 2 assists on 2 others, and you think that was going to be a turning point for Forbidden Fruit. Well, it's not. ESA Red able to still overcome that great play from Hysteria and tie this series up.
Nice turn of events, for sure. And yeah, there's a number of different ways you can pick at it. Like, was Arctic's rotation the right one? Could he have gone maybe out front green, where he had more sight lines, was more involved in the action immediately? Would that have given him a trade or a kill earlier? Either way, you shake it. What's clear is it takes some serious ice, I think, out of ESA Red to go down in that situation, and for them to have the snipe in the OS in the way that they did and a lock on their spawn to still fight out and still find the win. So just wild for ESA Red to battle themselves out of a corner. And if they can do that, then it gives you some optimism, I think, going on in the series on how far they can take it. We're tied at this point, Wes. 1-1. Catalyst Ctf coming up next, which honestly kind of hard to tell with this map game type where these ones go, right? Like it's I think still kind of up in the air. Any Catalyst map kind of tends to bode well, I want to say, for the underdog, because the strategy still being formed here.
Yeah, nobody's really perfected the timings, the awareness level that they need to in order to typically play this map perfect to a T, which usually gives the underdog more of a shot, right? The more strategic game types that come across, usually the favorite will find the opportunity to display that strategy, but we'll see who can find the advantages here. It's ESA Red that had a lot of success on Catalyst as of last week.
Right.
And I wouldn't be shocked to see them have success here today. It is an early push for Gunplexion. He's got 2 kills to his name, flag in hand, gonna opt to run it top middle. He gets melted before he can get into his door. The flag is gonna be on his half of the map, but we'll see if they're able to get the slaves behind it in order to potentially continue this run. And it's gonna have to be Tony that gets the kill. He can't do it, he gets melted. And they are gonna be able to cap this flag, I think, based off the amount of kills that they've had recently. And a phenomenal job by ESA Red. And not only get that flag on the move so quickly to get it across the bridge, but when it's down in that position, it's so difficult to try and find the advantage in order to continue that flag on the move. They get the kills, and they not only do that, they've ruined any potential for Forbidden Fruit to get a counter cap as well.
ESA Red just gunning them down at this point, and it's a really stark reminder that, yeah, they performed pretty damn well on this map last week, and maybe it's just a confident map game type for them. They're definitely showing us why. Too nice looking for a kill of his own. Oh, just barely whiffs it. That little change of direction on the grapple pickup, maybe throwing him off, leading to Arctic walking away with a kill. And an OS about to spawn, so he's not about to over-rotate just yet. Looks like the fight for OS might be about to go down here.
We'll see if he can grapple this. So often do we see the grapple either miss, the player exposed and exploited before he can actually acquire it. And as we switch screens, not quite sure what's happened with that overshield. It is going to go into his teammates' hands. So Forbidden Fruit have done a good job to acquire that overshield. We'll see if they're able to tie this one up. Now, they do have flag on the move, and Envor, with a questionable route, is going to double back. He's going to run it towards his teammates this time around. They're going to have to get a couple of slays because I do believe their flag is being pulled at the same point. So it's going to be a bit of a stalemate. And we saw how impactful these situations can be in the first series today. You need to win these if you want to win the game.
You see the direction Gunplexion's running the flag, and you know a battle's about to happen here. Looks like a flank comes in too. Envor not quite ready for it. Doesn't hit the shot. Trying to get out. Nice repulse. Sends him back out into the open. Somehow Envor survives the situation you would not expect him to. Gets a touch on the flag because of it. Gets a kill here too. Envor making plays just to secure the flag in game, give Forbidden Fruit time to get back to him and keep the help up. Looks like ESA Red are still trying to move that flag. Return comes in. Oh, doesn't even go for the melee, just guns him down. That's a numbers advantage and should likely be a cap.
And a great understanding there from Envor of just situational awareness, when to get the kills, when to continue moving the flag. It's given Forbidden Fruit the life they need to tie this one up. They get the slays at their base, they get the return, and look at this. They're going to look to be aggressive with the first kill on the Gunplexion as well. They look to try and get another pull.
Just moving and grooving off momentum at this point. Numbers advantage, player spawning back base. Rough spot to be when Envor's looking at you. Try to jump his way out of the fray. Not going to quite work out. Gunplexion now off the feet. Tony with another pickup on the flag. Little fumble. Teammates there to grab it. Got to put the skewer to good use and can't quite do it. They're getting pelted. They're going to die in this exchange, leaving the flag out on grapple side. Hysteria going to get crossed out too, so ESA Red will fend off this storm and likely get the OS too. They got numbers for this.
Absolutely. They're going to get that overshield, so well-timed kills not only get them the return, they get the overshield, and they're going to have their own opportunity to try and push into the enemy base. And look at this, the sword in hand could be devastating for Forbidden Fruit. The BR is the weapon of choice for Gunplexion as he finds the double, though. The overshield, it's gone, but it's made the opening that ESA Red potentially need to get this flag on the move.
Gunplexion just living massive. Oh, but unfortunately from behind he will be killed. The 3 members still up in the base, getting aggressive. Have to bait and switch their way for a flagpole here. Too nice, just tagging shots as he does it. Going to take the opportunity for a pull on the flag. Can he get it through to grapple? Big stand Paradigm there to help out. Gunplexion already spawning back base to stop the cutoff. But 2 dead. It's just the 2 of them up to make this happen. Just barely getting through with the grapple, though. Might actually have a chance with this one if they can get some slays.
Yeah, I think they're going to need to get some slays because this one could get ugly. The cutoff is there. Forbidden Fruit are in the base. They're on the return already. And although Ixana trying to do some damage, does a great job to try and find a kill, doesn't do enough to stop the return. And it's an overextension from Forbidden Fruit that get the job done. And in a situation like that, Shyway, you need to stop and slay, especially when you lose 2 teammates. And unfortunately, not the decision made by ESA Red. And because of it, we're going to see this flag now on the move for Forbidden Fruit. They're going to get the fight to their base. And this is where they need to drop and slide because overextenders are in a very similar situation that we just saw moments ago.
Nice little, I was about to say nice little comparison, but ESA Red finding the exact counter to take out 2. Gunplexion with another. And they'll stop the hit. Deja vu. They'll stop the flag short. So even when you know the overextend's coming, it can be a tough battle to win. And we're seeing that firsthand. Standoff situation. Despite it, though, looks like they still got presence in the base. Too nice with a beautiful little double. That'll give them access to the flag, but not to safe haven just yet. Need some help on the rotate.
Is he going to turn the corner? Oof. Just immediately gets melted before he can do so. The overshield going to go in the hands of ESA Red, but I mean, let's back up. Let's talk about that flag run for a second. When you're running it and you know those overextenders are coming, Shyway, honestly, I like to drop low with the flag because it's less of a hallway and susceptible to the grenades, right? Like, so often do you see grenades just coming through that hallway, just doing so much damage that you're not really able to compete with, especially because those players are coming off spawn. You're coming out, probably having used your grenades on the other opportunities, right? So a lesson learned there as the flag is on the move. Ixana trying to get this one across. I'm not quite sure Forbidden Fruit are here. They are going to get the kill. I do believe ESA Red should be in a position to punch this one in. However, it's just a matter of will the counter cap come through now because Forbidden Fruit a little late to the party. Going to lose the lead here as ESA Red punched that flag in, but they are going to have an opportunity to make up for it here and now.
Flag planted with a little desperation, for sure. Like you said, this is their chance. Overextension will be coming in. Can they stop it? Arctic still running flag. Looks like he's made it past the most difficult part for now. Going to leave the flag down there. Focus fights with the team. Somebody's doubling back for it. Looks like Tony. Somebody's on the return, I think, too. Little double dilemma to work with. Make sure they get those slays, because, well, they work on that. The flag has been pulled by 2 Nice. And more than just one dilemma to fend off if you're Forbidden Fruit here.
It's going to be by himself as well. The flag carrier does a good job to get the kill, but unfortunately, Team Grenade could keep this one alive, but they are going to have multiple people on the return. Nobody for Forbidden Fruit in a position to deny the return. The flag does get returned from Forbidden Fruit as well, but ESA Red were focused on getting that return and prioritizing it, especially because they have the lead. They even have the flag on the move once again, so that return actually benefits them a little bit because they don't have to run across the map. And although I believe the flag carrier does get taken down, it's not before this overshield gets acquired, right? And that's an important win condition removed from Forbidden Fruit once again.
Oh, it's important for sure. That flag actually not returned yet either. So still trying to keep it in play. There's the sneaky sword attack. Ixana doing the work he needs to, though, in the base. They'll plant that 3rd flag in. Slow and steady. ESA Red continue to climb on the board here. There goes Envor as well. That's a sword down on the ground. Maybe ESA Red can collect it as Gunplexion just chases this man to the depths. By the way, he needs this kill. He wants it. Jeez. Yeah, eventually Tony's just going to find the counter, I guess. And now numbers advantage Forbidden.
Not only numbers, but the flag on the move. It's across halfway. That was 3 dead momentarily for ESA Red as well. So you get the kills, you get the flag on the move, and the perfect timing. Efficient objective here from Forbidden Fruit is going to tie this game up. Or I'm sorry, it's only going to make it a 1-cap game. As ESA Red still does have that 3rd cap to play around, but with 3 minutes remaining, you needed to find an answer to make it to keep it within striking distance on the side of Forbidden Fruit. They do just that.
And you can see that turn of, confidence down to maybe even greed in the gameplay there when they get the flag and felt like they had such an advantage they could maybe chase a kill down, and all of a sudden you chase a kill, turns into multiple, and then a flag is capped, and all of a sudden things can change pretty quickly, assuming they don't win their fights in base. ESA Red already pushed up here, still confident, still finding momentum. As we say it, though, Arctic has a pull of his own. Nice little sneak attack.
Flag on the move now. Arctic knows how big this moment is for his team. There's still a player on the main ramp. It's a difficult kill for his team. You want to punch this one in. You got to dodge the grenades to do so. He can't do it. It gets stopped at the goal line. Paradigm finds a double and nobody there to punch it in. Nobody there to deny the flag from being returned. And just like that, ESA Red, at a moment's notice, not only get the return, have the flag on the moon, and with 2 minutes remaining, you can feel the pressure starting to build. Kills coming through once again. ESA Red drop the flag. They get the slays. They get the overshield as well, Shyway. And they're going to have a 2-cap lead to play around as Paradigm makes the perfect play from the top middle position in order to not only stop the cap, but to make this game so difficult, almost out of reach now for Forbidden Fruit.
So well played by ESA Red, just managing resources perfectly there. 2 on each side of the map, stopping with the flag, like you said, to ensure they get the OS. Getting the slays they need to. They have 4-2 on the board with just over a minute to work with, and Stan making the smart decision to come back to base, make sure nobody gets near that flag.
It would be an incredible attempt. Tony two-turn with a skewer across the map. That's
wild.
Is where the incredible play starts. You have to think if it's going to happen. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the same effect. Complexion understanding that defense wins championships. Defense will win you game 3 in the series. With a 4-2 lead, 50 seconds remaining, he's on a killing spree as he gets taken down. But I mean, from ESA Red's perspective, all they have to do is really play defense from this point. They will find themselves up in the series 2-1.
For the record, I don't know if this is a thing, but it would be sick if you could shoot the skewer in the air and eventually it falls if it doesn't hit a roof. Right? Because it does have drop. Like,
it is a projectile.
Right. That'd be sick, dude. If it's just random skewer.
The map would have to be massive.
Yeah. I mean, Catalyst is the one map where you could, technically.
I feel like you're more likely to hit a teammate that respawned 30 seconds later than an enemy.
Yeah. Potentially. Either
way.
If
I'm your teammate and you hit me with the skewer, we're going to have a conversation afterwards.
I don't know. You clip that. You send that to, remember the Halo, what was it, the fails on Rooster Teeth fails of the week? That's one of those clips right there. Either way, this is done and dusted, Wes. Less than 5 seconds. ESA Red off a well-executed team play for Flag 4. They plant that one in confidently.
Complexion with 28-2. I know we don't really typically look at the stats here at ESA in between games, but you got to point out the 28 kills from Complexion.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of those guys that honestly pops off more times than not in a lot of the series that his team has a chance to create the upset in, right? I feel like when he's not playing against the Pioneers of the world, the Cloud9s of the world, he has a lot of success individually and statistically against a lot of the teams that are in his tier list or maybe a tier just above his. So continuing to watch him have success at those points is only going to do him a lot of not only confidence, but as a player looking to make it onto the professional scene, looking to have success there, consistently playing at that level is definitely steps in the right direction. Complexion giving ESA Red every bit of the slays they needed in order to get the job done there, but it was really the entire team with their overshield control, their efficiency and objective, their clutch stops, their ability to play Catalyst Ctf at a very high level. And this is not something new from ESA Red. We saw them last week have success at Catalyst Flag. So, when Catalyst Ctf shows up, we talk about coin tosses all the time in pro play and how this game type really not a strength or a weakness for any team. Starting to become a real strength for ESA Red.
They're looking damn good. The potential being shown here for sure. They're at the match or series point now as well. If they take this, I mean, arguably, on paper, I'd say the top team in the tournament is Forbidden Fruit, just as far as, standings. Taking this is a big deal. Puts them in a great spot in grand finals as well. And, of course, once again, Gunplexion, what a grinder, right? He puts the time in, starting to see the results of that on screen, not just in slays, but just several, I want to say, more selfless moments, like you said, with objective efficiency, knowing when to get in and out of the capture, to stop the flag, to be with the team, to bait and switch, and hopefully earn a rocket launcher center map as well, because here we are in what might be the final map of the series. It's King on Streets.
King on Streets, name of the game, is controlling some of the weapons on the map, right? The Bulldog shotgun, so impactful. The rockets, the Stalker rifle, such high DPS when you're awarded yourself with that scavenging story. And right now, ESA Red in control of the hill. They win the Battle of the Slays early on. Too Nice with 3 to his name as well. He's one of those players that sticks out A lot of the time we highlight his rosters throughout the past, and they're able to get a few kills and potentially gain some significant time here if they're able to clear out Red Room. It is going to be Hysteria they have to deal with. Tony's going to find one as well, but perfect shots from Ixana. He's been quiet all series long. You have to think he's going to step up here and now, and he does just that. And if they're able to get this first point, that's when the pressure is really going to start to get felt by Forbidden Fruit, and Ixana not missing with his Stalker Rifle, doing everything to make that a reality.
Right, and from what we've seen in previous weeks, the moment Ixana wakes up is a scary moment for the opposition. Looks like 3 are dead, though, as I say. It's a nice little answer out of Forbidden Fruit. They find all the slays on the map. That'll clear things out for some easy hill time. They got a lot of hill time to pick up, though. No progress just yet. Tony Toon turns just watching the PD side in the meantime. About to be pushed by multiple. Rough spot to be in. Not quite going to find the damage there either.
Couldn't quite hit the shots with that Pulse Carbine. So difficult, but so rewarding when you do, right? Yeah. So much damage can be done when those shots come through. Unfortunately, Tony just feeling the pressure there, and not a good time to go down for Forbidden Fruit because rockets are coming up.
Thankfully, they still do have them, though. Got to get to the hill quickly. Just a couple seconds. That will be Captain Umbor here to crash the party, making it double. Numbers advantage to work with. Opportunity to set up around the hill, assuming they live. Envor will want to do that. He's got a shotgun to work with. He could turn this into a little spree if he gets going.
Look how close this point is for ESA Red. Just one setup break is all they need, right? One momentary lapse from Forbidden Fruit will cost them an early game lead for ESA Red. It's going to be Envor with the Bulldog shotgun. He's got a lot of responsibility here. Can't hit the no-shield players there, and although he does some damage, finds a kill, it's not enough. It's going to be a 1-0 lead for ESA Red, and here come the rotations into Tram. They're going to have a couple of players here to deal with, but it's actually going to be 3 for Forbidden Fruit. One's going to spawn out, and this could be where ESA Red take control of the series and really put it in their favor. They have a 2-1 lead, yes, but if they can get a 2-0 lead here in game 4, that would be massive, and massive shots are exactly what Ixana gives them.
They're setting themselves up to do exactly that. I think that opening cap time is so important, and the example we just witnessed where because ESA Red opened up with so much time to work with, they were able to coordinate one of those last second, stops to get back in and flip the script on it. That's always a position you want to be in here. So early time once again to ESA Red. Team fight still going down as we say it. It looks like Arctic will take Gunplexion, and now Forbidden Fruit have a shot at this. Stalker to work with as well. Less than 30 seconds for the Rockets to ESA Red play their lives carefully and just kind of wait for this one final moment once again.
Forbidden Fruit trying to stall the push here as rockets are coming up. It's going to be a full bottom mid push. Nice shots from Tony Two Turns on a Paradigm there. He's got more pressure to deal with, though. ESA Red have gotten into Tram. They've infiltrated the hill for now. They pick up a few kills, and Tony doing so much work. Somehow stays alive, switches weapons, finds the kill, but not only that, Arctic here to have his back, finds a couple of kills with the Rockets. And this is the momentum Forbidden Fruit needed to stay in this game, stay in this series now, as Arctic acquiring those Rockets, puts him to use, breaks that potential setup. Needs to stay alive here. Unfortunately goes down, but still, how much work just had to be done by Forbidden Fruit to even just stay in this hill. And I mean, you blink and ESA Red, they're right back in it.
It was a beautiful exchange for sure, though. I mean, a big part down to Tony, who picks up another, by the way, on the feed, 12 and 8, leading the board in slays. But like you said, it's just not enough when it comes down to cap time. Ixana looking to close this out. They are down numbers. He's going to try to force this kill. Doesn't quite get it. Steps back in hill, only to get tagged from center map. Still have yet to cap it. Forbidden Fruit, they'll look to push. They don't want to be going down 2-0 here, but a slight mistake, and they'll find themselves not only losing the hill and not ready for the next one. It's a big win for Envor, though, and they might actually have a shot at clutching this up.
They might, but they got work to do, and unfortunately, 3 dead. Last guy alive is going to be Tony coming off respawn, and he spawns on the opposite side of the map. That's going to be so difficult for Forbidden Fruit to try and deny that point, and they're not able to. It's going to be a 2-0 lead now for ESA Red. Fortunately for Forbidden Fruit, they spawn in PD. Unfortunately, the pressure is already onto them. They're starting to get taken down, and it's going to be up to Hysteria to try and make any difference here for an early setup once again for ESA Red. Tony gets into PD, however, is going to be denying early time going to ESA Red's favor, but the push comes through, and although he gets a nice kill, it's not enough It's just too nice that goes down. And look at that, ESA Red continuing to get those shotgun spawns, have the favorable position to be able to combat this setup. And now with hill control, rockets coming up, I mean, Shyway, we could be looking at a 3-0 lead.
Could be. VSA Red continue to come out on top, just winning scrappy fights at this point. Shoddy spawning. Hysteria tagged up by a nade. Man's one shot. Where'd the rockets go? Seeing him on the feed, though. Looks like Arctic picked him up once again. That'll clean up some space on the map here. That Shoddy's definitely up, though. I'm surprised Hysteria maybe has a teammate who could double back for it. Their focus now, of course, just control defense. Hysteria trying to keep himself elusive. Tony still in the hill. Got a teammate right-hand side for a perimeter. ESA Red, it's up to them to find a break on this, especially with the resources they've got. Oh.
Can they defend the push? The Stalker Rifle spots out Envor, takes him down. Ikshana gets in the hill, and the last player alive, he jumps up towers. It was Arctic. He gets taken down. It's a complete flip of the map once again for ESA Red. And that was kind of a blunder for Forbidden Fruit, right? They gave so much space to ESA Red as they advanced on the map, and Ikshana finding a kill is going to stop or stall the push, make it a little bit less powerful here for Forbidden Fruit. And wow. If you take a look at the time, Shyway, not a lot of time to try and get across the map, if at all. Especially not with the Bulldog doing work right now. Too nice, making sure ESA Red take that 3-0 lead.
One thing to expect a close series between these two. Another to see a blowout starting to form in front of us. I mean, a 3-0 here. ESA Red looking to shut these boys out and confidently punch their tickets to Grands. And these are no slouches on the scoreboard here, Wes. This is a big deal for ESA Red to continue to punch through in this fashion. I mean, looking to try to 4-0. I don't remember the last time I've seen a team come back from a 3-0, to be honest. Very uphill road to climb for Forbidden Fruit.
Yeah, I said that last time. I don't know really if it's ever happened in pro play. I don't think I've commentated a game where we've seen a 3-0 deficit just get erased, and especially when you're able to start playing time and start manipulating that part of the game, especially with the bottom mid hill on Streets King of the Hill as well. So everything in ESA Red's favor right now. Forbidden Fruit forced to play that cliche version of perfect Halo, and we'll see if they're capable of it. It needs to be a quick point with no time off the clock for them to even have a chance here. We'll see if they're capable of it. I believe they just picked up rockets, so you have to think, if ever, it's now.
Like you said, 2 minutes on the clock. It's decent, but that could run out very quickly if they don't spend most of this time in the hill to keep that time frozen. So far, so good, though. Arctic just been roaming, picking up kills. Spawners now up and try their hand once again, but ESA Red having a lot more trouble with this one, thanks to Arctic, and nice positioning. The top map coming in handy. They're holding hands, too, and just making sure they stay alive to keep some control in the hill. Just a sliver away. And ESA Red do finally start to break through here.
Yeah, and if you're ESA Red, you get out of the hill. Actually, with them over halfway, maybe you don't. Maybe you try to cap it. I was thinking they should play time, but no, they've been able to chunk away at this hill so quickly from what it seems.
Wow.
And right now, on the ropes, Forbidden Fruit with 1 life left. 1 push, potentially. The last 2 players alive, they're going to have something to say about it, but no, it's game, it's series, it's ESA Red advancing to the grand finals off a stellar performance in games 2, 3, and 4. Very well done. And what looked like the potential for Forbidden Fruit to run away with it. And towards the end of game 2,
yeah,
that was the last we really saw of them. From the highlight reels perspective, it was all ESA Red ever since. And what a way to gain momentum, and what a way to create this upset, I would say. Find your way into the grand final, and back-to-back weeks, ESA Red is now starting to find consistency as well.
You love to see it. I mean, what a glow up.
I really do.
At this point, Wes. Like you said, game 2 is very close. Catalyst and then On looked like a different team. They're a bunch of beasts now. What does that mean for grand finals as well? Because Black Hand, I mean, as talented as they looked against ESA Blue, a little bit more recently formed, still, working out some chemistry, I'm sure, too. ESA Red with a lot of momentum under their belt. They're probably feeling good. Likely going to carry that one into the next matchup. But one thing's for sure, Wes, this team improving week after week. How far do they go? What kind of competition do we give them now is what I'm wondering too, right? If they win this, of course, they still got work to do. But then you start to pull out the big guns and start to wonder, how far can they punch, basically. Either way, a hell of a series. Let's see what Yeso thinks. He's probably happy about it too.
Yes, Shyway, very happy to see what's going on this week. Big win there for Esports Arena Red. And for me, really feels like proof of what we've been talking about for Blue and Red all season long, because admittedly, it's been a tough season for both of these squads. You want to talk about a roller coaster ride? It has admittedly had quite a few more downs for both of these teams, but it's important to remember, one, the competition very stiff, right? When you see teams like Cloud9 coming out just on an open night, that's just leveling up how difficult it's going to be to succeed in these kinds of events, right? So we've talked about all throughout the season, even with the losses that Blue and Red have suffered at times, that it's all about learning from those. You know, you heard it after that series between Blue and Blackhand, Shyway talking about, you know, hey, look back at the VOD. What can you learn, right? What can you improve on? What elements did you see in games 1 through 3 that you can build upon, the positives that you saw there? And so this is largely how the conversation has been framed around both of these squads all throughout the season, because ultimately it's a journey and these teams are trying to grow, trying to learn, trying to cut their teeth and really take advantage of this experience against quality competition week after week after week. And what we're seeing here with Red, with them being able to chain back-to-back weeks with a solid win in the first round, is that growth and that progression is coming. The fruits of their labor is starting to bear here, and now it makes me so excited to see this series against Blackhand, because admittedly, if you look at last week's grand finals with pickup team, almost nobody is picking Red to win that series, and that's not because they don't have the skill, they don't have the talent, but simply because you look at the squad that they were playing against, and that's a stacked team. There was a lot of talent there, and not to say that Blackhand isn't a talented squad, but you look at the name value, and it's not the same, right? There's not a Spartan playing on Blackhand. It's going to be a good series, but this is definitely a series that you go into and you think, man, this is one Red has a good shot in. If they can bring some of the same things that they did against Forbidden Fruit into this next series, they have a really good shot at taking this. And this is just, again, that continued progression, the team continuing to improve, learn, grow, and with their eyes set on Orlando, just like everybody else's, if they can continue that trajectory, who knows what can happen in that event. Anything can go your way, and if you continue to build these foundations and these fundamentals, the things that we talked about with Clutch a week ago, you can make things happen, and we're really starting to see that happen, especially here with Esports Arena Red. So congratulations on the win, and they look damn good, right? Forbidden Fruit come out swinging, looked really strong in the first game and pretty dominant in that one, but you see that Red, if they're able to steal that game in game 2 or 3 and keep that series going, that they build confidence and they just get better as the series goes along. And if they can hit their stride earlier in the series, you may not even get to a game 5, and that's what we saw here. They came out in game 2 and won that one, a tight one for sure, but then they kept it rolling in games 3 and 4 and looked better and better and better as it went along, and now they come into this set with Blackhand, and they've got to be feeling great. They should be feeling confident, and they have a huge opportunity here. If I'm honestly putting a prediction on the table, I'm taking Red 3-1 once again here against Blackhand. I'm feeling it. I think they're feeling it. Blackhand's going to be a good team. I think it's going to be a tight series, but I think Red can do it here. So that is my prediction. Before we jump, though, into grand finals, let's talk a little bit about PvE. It's a little something new. We're doing it at Esports Arena locations all across the country, okay? Now, we know some of you folks, you want to dig into a really deep bracket, you know, hours and hours of esports competition, but some folks want it in a little bit more bite-sized pieces, and PvE provides just that. Now, all you have to do is go to an esports arena near you. You can use exclamation point locations in Twitch chat right now to find your nearest esports arena. You go in, you purchase some tokens, and you use those tokens to enter in different leaderboards. These leaderboards will have different games and modes that you can compete in across a range of different titles. We've got things like Aim Labs, Valorant, Guilty Gear, Strive, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Home Run Derby, even some Mario Kart and more. And we're keeping things fresh and different every single week so you can keep coming back to compete in all kinds of different games. We've got thousands of dollars in prizing that you can win every week. So you go out, purchase your tokens, put up your best scores, and win. And the nice thing is you can keep track of your scores 24/7 over on our live streams on our YouTube channel. So make sure head over there and check it out and go out to your local esports arena today and compete just like my friend Connie Kins here, who is admittedly not an Aim Labs master. He is not an FPS guy. He's done. I think he's going to go maybe enter in some Smash Home Run Derby, maybe some Mario Kart. Who knows? But if you think you can compete, put up a great score, go to Esports Arena today, compete, and win. We would love to see you there. Use exclamation point locations in Twitch chat right now to find your nearest esports arena. We're going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, it's Black Hand. It's Esports Arena Red. $500 on the line in our grand finals when we return.
Tyson boneless buffalo bites have that tasty kick of flavor, so they're perfect for any get-together. If there are any left when your guests arrive. Tyson Anytizers Chicken. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our Series E Halo Friday. Been quite a day so far, and it's now nearing its close. We've got our final matchup of the night coming up, Wes. It's grand finals. ESA Red, they're looking damn good today. They're on a momentum run here, and they want that 500. If they want to take it, they're going to have to beat Black Hand, who are also looking pretty damn good as well. This should be a hell of a series. I think after taking down Forbidden Fruit, Wes, I'm wondering, ESA Red, do they go the distance today?
Yeah, I think they will, honestly. The way they look, the way they've looked these last few weeks, they are primed. to be in this position. They are primed to create this opportunity for themselves. They're finding that level of consistency, and everybody is cooking on all cylinders over for ESA Red. For the side of Blackhand, they had a very strong performance against ESA Blue, but this is going to be a much different task, I feel, going up against ESA Red. And you know, ESA Red, they want to defend that belt, or they want an opportunity to honestly win one of these championship Fridays. They want to defend the loss to ESA Blue, and we'll see if that's what happens.
I mean, why do you compete in these week after week? Not just to level up, but to, you know, what happens to these top players? They get poached by different rosters. You know, some of the biggest rosters in the game, like what was our recent ESA team getting picked up by Luminosity for a hot minute, right? So that's all part of that grind. ESA Red giving these players opportunities to put themselves in the spotlight, take dubs, and get onto some of the biggest teams in the league if they keep up play like this. Of course, story just getting written, and Stan looking to write one with this OS pickup.
He's writing it himself right now with 3 kills to his name. He's the last player alive, somehow finds a double. Not only that, but gives his team the overshield bonds, allows his team to acquire this first overshield. And although there's a ton of time already in Blackhand's favor on this hill, they're going to have to act quickly in order to get him out of this one. A great job to win a body shot there by Sylvanik with the snipe, but still a lot of work to do. You're going to have to break the ESA setup here now, and that time is going to start to tick. So although you feel like you did a great job at the start, you got a significant lead in this hill. It could be all for naught if they're not able to get a few slays. Fortunately for them, they were able to find the first 2, and that's where this hill should be transferred over momentarily. A couple of no-shield players in Garage to deal with. Cortex slides out. He finds the kill. The setup is broken, and it will be probably the first point going into Blackhand's favor here.
Cortex letting us know to watch out for this man in the series coming. He was one of the main slayers in the past one, and at this point, he's already taking that spotlight. There's another piv on the stand. That'll open things up for the second hill. Already spotting a couple nades to deny him, but nice little live here, right? Staying up top map, not losing high ground just yet, listening for info as he gets back in the fight to retake the hill.
Great positioning so far from Cortex. Way to stay alive a couple of times and gets damage onto 2 before he gets taken down. The slays have gone in his team's favor, make it a third. Last player alive. Bid teaches, makes slight work of the last 2 players. Gives Blackhand a real opportunity to gain a significant chunk of time here on hill number 2, and already with momentum in their favor, Blackhand looking to gain an advantage in this series, potentially take the lead here. It's going to be overshield in Shakoi's hands as well as he's battling for his life. It's pure chaos. But in the meantime, they're controlling the hill. They're able to achieve over about 60% of it, I'd say. And in saying that, it's going to be so difficult for ESA Red to try and hold a setup and try and get back into this one. They do get around the slays. They are going to be able to control the hill momentarily. Have a nice opportunity to potentially get back into this one, but a very similar story where they're playing that catch-up game on hill number 2 as they were hill number 1. You want to see if they're able to do it this time around, but it's not a way to live, Shyway. You got to find a way to find early success for where you're the one being able to play comfortable Halo.
Exactly. With Blackhand knowing they got time to work with, they can be a little bit patient to retake things. Right. As I say it, though, it looks like the slays still come in. 4 dead. ESA Red with a snipe to work with. As Gunplexion rotates over to Nest and finds a head. This is the type of momentum you like to see out of these boys. Let's see them lock it down.
Yeah. That's going to stop any push, really, that Blackhand are going to be able to come out right here, right? Like they're wanting to play. And another headshot for Gunplexion, a killing spree for it as well. And just like that, Gunplexion is awarded his team. The tied up game 1 experience here is they're going to score this point and just in time to try and rotate into house, but more importantly, this overshield, the impact that it could have on this 3rd hill would be massive. Gunplexion trying to stay alive, play his life for it. He's going to be by himself out here, but Paradigm is here to keep him alive momentarily. Battle for overshield ensues, but Gunplexion is going to back up, try and get in the hill, you would think, but no, he's going to leave that hill, at least for now. And a little bit of an odd rotation here from ESA Red. They opted to overextend towards the Brutes. We'll see if it benefits them.
Definitely in a dicey spot now. ESA Red recognizing pretty quickly they're up against the Juggernaut. So what do? Fight fire with fire. Gunplexion has not died in this exchange just yet. West making full use of that snipe. Looking for another here. Doesn't quite find the close on the distance. Repulsor makes it tough. Battle's still going to go down here in A. In the meantime, Cortex just living up. Not for too long, though. The nade deletes him. Bid finds the trade. Another fight will go down here for Sandbags, and it looks like ESA Red still finding little advantages to get back to Hill and hold on to the small bout of momentum they've gained.
This player staying alive in the window could be massive, though. He made his way to the scoreboard, and ESA Red, they tried to hunt him down. They tried to find him, but Akshana couldn't quite do it. They are going to get a delayed kill on the Shikoi, and honestly, that may be better than being able to kill him right away, because now you're going to have an opportunity to try and defend this hill with a numbers advantage, but that numbers advantage just deleted. Shyway. 3 go down for ESA Red, and a phenomenal job by Blackhand to break this setup. Back and forth, this number 3 hill continues to go, and you know how impactful this 3rd hill can be, because so often are you able to rotate from the 3rd hill to the 4th hill, and those are the 2 that typically dictate how the game's going to go.
As time goes by, Blackhand just kind of inching away with this one somehow, despite all the scrappy fights we've seen around it. Savannah gets back in. 10 seconds for the snipe and the OS. That'll definitely pull them out to center, but by the time they spawn, this hill's going to be capped. ESA Red not quite finding time to get to this one. Blackhand can not only bounce out of a cap here, maybe turn this into power weapon control as well. Cortex already with 2. Sylvana going to spot the others. That's the info he needs, honestly. Just putting the shots in, staying alive is perfect in the situation. Shikoi just waiting, too. Plants the OS at the perfect time as he takes down 2 in this situation. ESA Red going to be working from quite a deficit off the multiple rounds of slays we're seeing here.
And this is what I kind of feared, right? When you get control of that 3rd point, and you're able to transition, and the transition to the 4th point is so quick, so easy. And especially when Overshield's coming up, it just gives you that power curve to almost snowball the game out of control. And right now, that's exactly what Blackhand are looking to do. They're able to find the kills. They're able to find the success they need to take this. Now, all of a sudden, what was a 1-1 game, it's going to be a 3-1 with the hill moving to top middle. And it's so difficult to try and transition this hill into a point.
Quite an uphill battle here for ESA Red, that's for sure. Cortex is not going to make it any easier with this sniper. It's not hitting shots just yet. Getting close for the melee. That's good enough. Too Nice now down and dusted. With the tower in control. With center map in control as well. You see ESA Red just kind of scrambling, trying to find a moment to breathe. Blackhand might be shutting this one out here if it continues like this.
Yeah, so much time already on this 4th or this 5th point. Blackhand playing so well here through the mid game towards the later states of this 5th hill, and I mean just fractions away now from transferring it over. You see how desperately they want to end this one to gain an advantage in the series will be massive for them, and they're going to be able to do that here momentarily. If they can get one more round of slays, I'd say it's going to be one last final push. And not even that. ESA Red can't get there in time. Cortex with 18, Bid with 14, but more importantly, Blackhand take game 1 in our grand finals.
Blackhand can't sleep on these boys, Wes. They're looking pretty deadly, at least coming out of game 1, especially Cortex with 18 kills to start it. I think he started out with 4 or 5 kills as well, so an early impact from him that he just carried throughout the game. The more we watch him, the more he's looking like a main slayer on this team, Wes, so definitely something to, or someone to shut down, I think, if you're on the side of ESA Red. At the same time, we saw Gunplexion pop off at one point. Saw a couple moments of brilliance. I'm going to be looking to Ikshana once again. I think in the past weeks, he's been a big playmaker for the team. Too Nice. Really, everybody just kind of finds their moments to trade out. But I think that's the biggest thing is somebody has to be a playmaker right now. Somebody has to live a little longer than they should and come out with 2 kills instead of 1. And that's, you know, the kind of stagger that they need to get back into this one. Catalyst coming up might bode well for them, Wes. The Catalyst Ctf matches we've been seeing at least have been going well. Slayer, a bit of a different story, but still story left to right here.
Yeah, I think if anything, Catalyst is definitely going to benefit ESA Red here as far as the map layout's concerned. Not knowing enough about Blackhand and their specialty of game map mode combos, maybe they are familiar with a Catalyst Slayer, but either way, if you're Blackhand, you have a Slayer to either take a 2-0 lead here in the grand finals, or potentially, I mean, it's just a shot in the dark here to be able to potentially gain that advantage, right? If you're ESA Red, it's almost a must-win game, and they've had success on Catalyst like we've talked about past, but Slayer's a little bit different. It can be more of a coin toss, and Black Hand should be looking to kind of take advantage and ride momentum from that game 1 experience.
And if they do, it puts ESA Red in a very tough spot. So this is where you want to see them kind of fight fire with fire, bounce back off that opening strat, get that sword control, especially, I think, with the way this map works and just how they hold hands to kind of rotate around. Always having those weapons in control, going to make things very difficult, make you hesitate about how you play it. We'll see, Wes. What would you say is kind of the ultimate game plan for Catalyst at the moment?
I think it's all about controlling some of the power on the map. The sword seems to be so impactful. The grapple, like, equipment is so important. I mean, like, redundancy as far as Overshield is concerned, obviously the control of that's going to be important, but I think what the biggest opportunity for teams is when they find a pick, are they able to collapse correctly, or do they find themselves funneling through short, narrow hallways on the grenades and whatnot, and are they able to transition 1 kill into multiple kills in order to, like, flip the map? And at that point, do they acknowledge the fact that they can slow it down, or do they try to be aggressive? Because so often do I feel like we see a team get 4 kills and then try to continue to be aggressive, but they're just met with grenades from the respawning team, and they don't have any grenades themselves. It is going to be a little bit of a chaotic experience here, as all 4 members for ESA Red do go down, including a player off the map with that overshield, so it's not going to have too much impact on the early game. But that being said, Black King just about getting everything they want out of the early game. It's going to be a 5-1 lead with sword and control.
Kind of a shame that they stopped shooting in the air, because I don't know the last time I've seen a Halo free-fall gunfight, Wes. I don't think I've ever seen it. But either way, what's more important is the round of slays out of Black Hand. What a little lead they've created. Gunplexion, who's last up, is just trying to get cheeky with the glass here. But they have to slow it down immediately, because the resources do seem to be in control of Black Hand. We talked about this as the key to success. Likely they have the sword as well. You can see grapple in the back pocket of Cortex. There's the sword. Just need to see Cortex do something with it.
Cortex already on a killing spree here as he is taken down, but his impact felt and immediately directed in the scoreline. 9-6 now. It's a 3-kill lead for Black Hand, and just about everything they want right now. No real reason for them to try and be aggressive. They're situationally in a good spot, but that's not what you want to see. Shauna hits his teammate with the skewer, can't hit the opponent, and that is a massive 3-kill swing back into Black Hand's favor with power weapons and control. And Overshield's going to come up shortly. Everything going for Black Hand so far in this grand finals.
And they could have been insult to injury if Cortex hit that shot too, but thankfully I guess he didn't. So much wind up for that to happen, Wes. Like, they were juggling the repulsor, like Sean is juggling repulsor grapple to get it closer to gun so that they could set up a play. And they had everything in that one corner. And look at what Cortex does when you give him all the tools in the playground. He's just making plays with it to pull away in this game. Now 16-9, then OS for Sylvanic.
And they get the overshield.
Not quite. It'll go off the map at the very least. ESA Red doing what they can to stabilize here before it gets out of control. They got to kill Cortex.
You have to. There's a player above him. Does he know it is the question. Does it even matter? I think his teammates take him down, but Cortex right now finding his groove, finding a flow, and a pretty chaotic game is the difference here. 10-0-1. It's a 6-kill and make it 7-kill lead for Black Hand. He is finally taken down, but not without just a statement being made. And I mean, ESA Red have to stop the bleeding, and this is like what I was talking about. We always talk about the Slayers are opportunities for the underdog and series to stay in the series. Well, when the underdog wins game 1, it's the opportunity to push the series to a 2-0 lead and almost make that uphill climb unimaginable.
Are Black Hand the underdog, though, Wes? I don't even know who's...
I would say they are coming in, but not looking like it here and now.
Definitely not. His new blood, you never know what to expect, I think, with the talent in this game these days. I think just Cortex really stealing that spotlight, at least for the moment. 10 kills to work with. Skewer on their side as well, just anticipating any sort of a flank here. You got grapple locked down. You can see all 4 of their members, or at least were here. It picks up 1. Skewer finally coming into play. Not for a teammate this time, which is nice to see, but holding hands on the rotate here.
Black Hand in control of the pace so far here in game 2, and that's everything you can ask for, right? 15 seconds for overshield. They're rotating across the map. They can get these round of slays. That would be massive. They get a few It's 2-1 in their favor, and not only that, they take control of the middle of the map, and as Overshield's coming up, Shyway, that's exactly what you wanted to see, but there are going to be some favorable spawns. ESA Red's going to be on the opposite side, going to be trying to defend this Overshield, trying to grapple it, and that's a gun down. Mistake made for ESA Red, as Overshield's going to go into the hands of Shyway, I believe, and with that Overshield, this could be exactly where the series is won for the side of Blackhand.
Oh my. That little flank at a Shikoy, the timing of it, coming out with the OS. Look at him just beeline, right? He's just tagging this guy. He knows he's got shields to work with. He'll jiggle peek and try to do damage, but oh yeah, maybe a little bit too aggressive. Just wanted to get something deadly with that sword, but met gunfire instead. Honestly, him dying with it gives it to ESA Red, though, to do something. You can see Shauna just trying to live at this point. They've been at a deficit this whole game, but it's not out of the running just yet, Wes. If they can just find a little bout of momentum, round of slays, they got the info on where they are, too.
Yeah, but they're rotating out. This is perfect by Blackhand. They're just going to opt to get away from the sword carrier. They know that they just gave sword to the enemy team, so what do? That's a heads-up play by them to rotate out and try to make sure that that sword doesn't really influence the impact of the game. Unfortunately, it's kind of a 2-2 split for them, so this is a very difficult situation for Blackhand to be in, but the cross-map assists coming through, 3 go down, and somehow, even though it looks like a split, the sight lines are used perfectly to keep each other alive and extend the lead now to 6.
Kind of the beautiful thing about splitting on this map. And here's the sword finally doing what it should for the double for Shikoy. Every single weapon and utility just working perfectly for Blackhand. All to ESA Red's dismay here. But yeah, just having that kind of 3-1 setup on this map with the wide open sight lines, that one player, if they've got that angle cross map, they can do so much to open things up. I think we saw a good example. ESA Red are going to need something like that to get rid of Shikoy.
Shikoy. I love the idea of slowing this down. That's exactly what he's opted to do. Unfortunately, turns the corner a little bit too far. There's 2 players to deal with. I don't think they're going to push him, though, and because of that, look at the kill feed. Bid across the map. He's picked up 2. Overshield does go to ESA Red, but melted. Bid teaches Sylvanic and Shikoy all focused on denying that Overshield from impacting the game, and right now, 3 players getting spawn trapped here on Catalyst. It's so difficult to get out of. 41-29, and Blackhand continuing to steamroll.
That little round of slays might have been a nail in the coffin for this one, Wes. Unless we see some perfect play at ESA Red. Yep, they spotted them off spawn here, too. Bid not going to waste the skewer just yet. And mistakes can be made on Blackhand at this point. As long as they secure trades along the way, they're good to go. If Bid can find a kill cross map, I mean, there's insult to injury at this point.
Yeah, so much work to be done from ESA Red if they want to try and stay in this one, and not even sure they're capable of it right now with the way Blackhand's playing, and the rotations have just been pretty much flawless from the side of Blackhand. Such good control of just about everything on the map. Skewer, sword, grapple, repulsor, overshield, you name it, they've done it. Not only that, but when they haven't controlled it, they played almost flawless. The skewer just narrowly misses there, but I mean, even in doing so, you're just fine with removing that power weapon from the map, right? Removing that amount of DPS from the situation that ESA Red could come back with. But you give up a life, the kill is made up. But just like that, they try to push, they try to capitalize. Sylvanic trades 1 out, and that's good enough, right? You lose 2 members, you get 2 kills. 43-32, the game stays at an 11-kill lead, and Blackhand have done such a good job to build this lead that they can now comfortably trade out efficiently. But Ixana able to get 1. Can they get the second? They get 2 for 0 here, so more of that is what the doctor will have to order for ESA Red to come back in this one. Unfortunately, in the meantime, the battle for Overshield benefits ESA Red. They throw it off the map even, so even if he goes down, it's another win condition off the books for ESA Red.
Rough spot for the boys in blue, that's for sure. I really do feel like it's a story about power weapon efficiency for sure, Wes. And it's more so just, you know, maybe on one side bad luck, maybe a couple little mistakes are made, right? Like all kind of started with Gunplexion getting hit by Ixana Skewer. And then from there, just kind of on the bad side of every OS and power weapon exchange. Too Nice still does have the sword. The lead is large, but not insurmountable. 39 at this point as they bring it down to 6. Slow and steady. They're trying to claw their way back into this one. They can't afford mistakes, and Too Nice not slipping around that corner might have costed.
An absolute mistake as 3 go down for ESA Red, and what you thought was potentially a moment for ESA Red to shine in. It was Blackhand getting the better of the trades once again. They pushed the lead not only back to 6, but more importantly, 2 kills away from the end goal of 50.
Oof. Well, there's one. Will be the last victim. It looks like it was Stan down for 50 to 45 close. Honestly, very respectable. I'd say West, considering the advantage they had to come back from. What was it? Like a 12 kill advantage, I think, at one point there when they were sitting at 41. That was 41 to 29 to even things out towards the end. Either way, not the situation you want to see for ESA Red. They're down 0-2 in a best-of-5 series. Blackhand, they came to play. They're looking like the final boss in this one. Wes, do they have the energy to regain, to clutch up? We've seen, I think, a good example of the last series with ESA Red. The little flip they did in Slayer last second to find some ice and clutch up. That's the type of energy we need for somehow a 3-0 sweep reversal at this point.
Yeah, they're definitely having trouble just finding their footing here as Blackhand, with their aggression, with their, honestly, playing lights out Halo right now.
Yeah.
Against ESA Red, not really giving him much opportunity. Even ESA Red, a team that has had a lot of individual success, not having any individual success really here in this series, finding themselves down 2-0. You go to Street Strongholds, and although it was Street's King of the Hill that we watched, Blackhand have so much success on moments ago or in the previous series, I feel like a lot of the mindset as far as controlling some of these hills, rotating perfectly, understanding spawns, it's going to benefit Blackhand as they approach this Street Strongholds game with all the momentum in the world to close out this grand finals. You know, they want to create this opportunity for themselves, and just being a game away, you have to think that you favor them going into game 3, especially with how slow ESA Red have kicked off this series.
And no doubt the odds are stacked against them, right? All momentum, all the energy on the part of Blackhand. ESA Red, what would be the key to success here, Wes, other than just your typical, obviously you want the weapons, you want rockets and shotgun, you know, that'll control the map, but
you got to gain some momentum here. You have to feel like you're in control of one of these games. Both of these games 1 and 2, they've started off very slow. It was like an extremely slow start for them. Even though they won the first battle for Overshield on live fire, they gave up 75 if not 80% of the first hill in order to get that Overshield and try to impact the objective. In Catalyst Slayer, it was an immediately hot start for Blackhand. You have to start one of these games off on the right foot to be able to play from the lead, right? Like that, I can't tell you how important it is to be playing from the lead at times, because that pressure is felt by the other team. You're also feeling the momentum that you're playing with from the lead on your side, and that's so important for like young teams that are trying to win such important games. Is like the difference in mentality of like, hey, this game is comfortably in our hands, and even in reality, it doesn't have to be that significant of a lead. And on the other side, when you're losing a game in an important series, from a young player's standpoint, the magnitude is like multiplied in that sense. You feel the pressure even more so, because like you want this moment to come true so bad that like it's difficult to make sure you're crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and you're playing like textbook standard Halo. You feel a little bit rushed in order to do things, and when you start skipping steps, that's when you start making mistakes.
Sounds like it. We'll just have to see when we finally jump into this one. Of course, this could be the third and final match of the series, unless, like Wes says, they finally start hot. They have not started hot yet, not in this series. We've seen the exact opposite with Forbidden Fruit, which is interesting. All the confidence they had against players, you know, on paper, who would look like scarier opponents. But, I mean, in the end of the day, no matter who you're going up against, you got to treat them all the same. Strongholds will be an interesting tell for sure, Wes. I think it's down to that opening strat. The only unfortunate thing is with the asymmetrical kind of setup of this map, will they spawn on the side they want to, right? And not that it's super lopsided by any means, but you got to be a little extra vigilant, I think, if you're spawning in Subway.
Yeah, I don't think you can really like attest to what side do we start on. You need to be able to be successful from both sides. I think that's just part of the nature of the beast. You're gonna find yourself in series where you're the higher seed or the lower seed that you need to win this map mode combo, and that goes for any asymmetrical map. I don't feel like in Infinite any map specifically has a favorable start. It's more about where do you send your resources compared to where do they, and are you hitting your shots? Are you making the right play? So we'll see very quickly if that's the case. I hear we're getting into game 3. This is a big one. It's going to decide the grand finals if it stays going to a game 4 or if we're going to crown Black Hand this week's champions. The early start seems to have benefited Black Hand. Once again, Cortex has found himself the Rockets.
Scary little string of momentum might come from this. Cortex did not expect a player with a shotgun behind him. Sneaky play at a complexion. At least shut down Rockets in that situation, but the scrappy trades will continue here. Ikshana looking to pick up the pieces. The spoils. He did not grab the shotty. Wants the kill here instead. He'll take Sylvanik. Got some positioning to move up off of as he turns around, though. What is this? Players in front, behind. He's not going to find a kill in this situation. The rotation at a Black Hand completely snuffing him out there.
There's a bit of a split spawn, it looks like, is too much work for Ikshana to do in that situation. Does a good job to get the kill, stay alive as long as possible, but it's up to his teammates to get out of this one. They do break the AC hold. They're able to transfer over C, but there's a player by himself over towards the tower. And with that kill and a few more, it does look like Black Hand are going to have an opportunity to push on to B. This player entire C gets sniffed out. 3 go down for USA Red. Now all of a sudden, Black Hand able to flip the map back in their favor.
Yeah, quite a flip, done so pretty quickly, too. Sylvanik already pushing into C, though. That'll split spawns out. Looks like Bid is ready for it. Cafe spawner's already in A. And it's just suppressing him. He's got 2 to worry about. And that'll flip the map a little bit. Sylvanik does take C. Just got to move together for the rotation here and hopefully stay alive for the Rockets coming up as well. Nice rotation at a Bid, though. Picks up
Good
1.
shots.
Cleans him up with the commando. Already snapping on the one up heaven. He'll be forced to go to B. This frees up the map to get Rockets in just a second. Bid going to be the forward player here.
Yeah, Bid not even getting looked at here. So much damage.
No.
Able to find a double, able to hop in and be in the same time. And 3 go down for USA Red. I believe the last player alive, he's about to go down. And now all of a sudden, total control for Black Hand. Rockets in the hands of Cortex once again. And if Cortex plays this one well, he's going to give his team every bit of an opening they need to close out the grand finals.
Full team push at ESA Red says, no, you're not getting back A. At least that's what I thought, though. What? They're all still dying, though. Black Hand just finding picks left and right, leaving Too Nice alone. He'll be planting nades everywhere he can because he's about to be surrounded. Nice survival out of him, though, just to stay up out of this situation. In and out of doorways here. Nice, like it was a milk of his life. Gives his team maybe the opportunity to slow the bleeding. But you look at this game very quickly slipping out of control, and you wonder if ESA Red have the mental to stay in it.
It's so tough. The snowball, it's downhill. It's starting to weigh against you. 127-16 now all of a sudden. And Bid Teach is feeling himself at 8-4-0. Hasn't had a death yet here in game 3. An unbelievable stat line. There goes the first one as he tries to deny A from getting taken over. But 138-16 already. And you can feel Black Hand starting to run away with this one.
Finally, we see a little temporary trip cap. Looks like immediately C will change hands. But Ikshana and the boys find high ground, and maybe they can turn that into momentum of their own. Going to come down and getting that opening pick. Too Nice already putting shots in. Ikshana waiting for the moment to get in the fight here. Needs this kill! And somehow Shikoy comes out with that melee. The help of Cortex, they 2-man push their way through to clean kills and map resources once again here.
Cortex with the Bulldog. Teammate gets a kill as well, and 2 down once again for USA Red. Control back in their favor, up 100 points. Continuing to score. Rockets are coming up too. Shyway, it doesn't get any worse than this for USA Red right now. They have to fight out of this situation. They don't have the space to do it. They don't have the players. Cortex finds a double, finds himself Rockets. Complexion, last guy alive, but more importantly, the hills, the points, continuing to score for Black Hand.
Looking about as brutal as it could at this point. Good to see a complete flip of the script for anything to happen. And Cortex getting a little bit of cluster luck with the double. Still had a rocket in the chamber, I believe. Too Nice will want to get to it, but won't. Stan instead. He's got it. That's something to at least give them some leeway here. He'll step into A. 180 on the board for Black Hand. They got so much momentum. Nades just going off, making it so difficult for Stan. If he's in, yeah, he might get picked if he's not careful. Thankfully, Complexion's getting involved here. He leaves A. Teammate will cap it. Rocket going to get him finally a kill here. Keep Cortex off the map, and maybe they can start to break through the defenses.
It seems like a recipe for success. How consistent can you do it, though, is the question. They're going to try and transfer B over. The nades come through to knock him continuously to no shield. He wants to push. He's got a great brew grenade that finds Bid. Unfortunately, the predictive nades on the downhill take him down, and that push a little bit of over aggression, but you see it right now from ESA Red. Starting to panic, starting to understand they need a trip cap, and they need one for a significant period of time to stay in this one. 184-71 right now the score. Black Hand continuing a commanding lead here as they approach the 200-point mark. They're able to find a few slays. A good shot by Cortex there. They are going to lose C here momentarily, it does look, but Cortex doing a great job to just try and buy time. He gets taken down, and ESA Red do a good job to finally get what feels like for the first time all of ESA Red down.
Honestly, solid rotation out of them to send all the numbers out to C quickly, have one player just kind of frustrate him on the B stairs, gave him enough leeway to cap AC, and now B here too. You can see Bid now forced to get to A to slow the bleeding on this, but ESA Red finding a little bit of momentum. They need these rockets though. And they need this slay. Bid getting a melee there. Just the damage they do despite being in one shot makes things so damn difficult. Looks like Stan's got all the responsibility at the moment. He might have shot a rocket already. Gonna focus on Stalker here instead. There's a thrust to work with too. Can make this rocket count.
Stalker rifle in his back pocket. This is where it can be done. It's only a 60-point game at this point. That's good. He's taking it slow too. I like that by him. He finds great damage with the first rocket. Does a little bit to himself, but more importantly, gets a kill, gets a player to no shield, gets another nade onto a player, and what a play by Paradigm there to deal a significant amount of damage to 3 players and keep his team in this one. And look at this Shyway. It's almost a 40-point game now, so you're saying much more doable. What was looking like a blowout early. Say Red starting to fall, but to crawl back, starting to fight back into this one.
Like you said, much more doable now. All of a sudden, getting good positioning to find some picks here as well. Stagger the numbers of Black Hand so they can't safely get back to the hill. There we go. 2 men push into B. Gonna delete, I believe, Bid. Put them at 3 members. They're gonna have to start to hesitate a little bit about when they're popping out these bases. Every mistake being countered. Top map control in session from ESA Red. They're just letting them come to them. Stan gonna pepper him up. Oh, Bid with 2 big kills, though. There's the opening Black Hand was waiting for.
What in the world? A phenomenal thrust. A great job to find 2, and that's the opening the Black Hand needed. This one was getting close. It was almost tied up. And Bid's a dude of 2 players from ESA Red. Takes control once again, and Black Hand flipped the map. They have an A-B hold for now.
Complexion in a great spot with Shoddy here. Teammate center map to get the rockets. Needs to stay alive on the flank. Drop wall down can give him some shade from the gunshots.
What in the hell are you doing?
Not quite sure what's going on with the weapon switches, but Stan somehow killed a teammate, apparently, with the rocket out in tires. Carnage still done regardless. They still got the map to work with. His gun just closes the gap here.
The Bulldog gets the kill. Complexion staying alive, does his job, rotates perfectly. They get A and B controlled now. Still just a 10-point game. Now all of a sudden, ESA Red, you can feel it in Complexion's gameplay right now. The momentum starting to go in their favor, but I mean, just in a moment's notice, 3 drop. And from Complexion's point of view, you're scratching your head. I was doing so much, it felt like, but it wasn't enough. And all of a sudden, Black Hand once again in the driver's seat here. Gonna have a momentary trip cap. C's gonna go into ESA Red's favor, but they're gonna have the information what these last 2 players are, and Cortex finds a double. Last player lives downhill. He gets removed from the map from Chikoy. Now all of a sudden, it's up to Black Hand. Do they want to try and be aggressive, or do they want to trap them and tram here and deny space as the push has got to come through from ESA Red now?
They have about 1 good push, and that's it. And they know it, too. Trying to be careful about when they pick their timing. Shauna was by himself. It's a 3-man push up through Cafe. Well, that happens. They try to overwhelm A here. Sylvanik gonna meet 3. Rightfully so, he backs down. Trades coming in. Black Hand looking to stabilize it, fend them off. At 2:42, they'll stop the timer. Can they keep their numbers, though? Oh, Chikoy with 1. They still do have numbers, I believe. Rockets coming up here as well.
1v1. There's Complexion versus Sylvanik in a 1v1. C's going to get transferred over, but the spawns are going to favor ESA Red for now. They spawn PD. That's an easy rotation onto B. They're able to get B. like you said, it's going to come down to these Rockets, though. The kill is going to matter. Cortex, he gets the first opening picks. Unfortunately, it is traded off by Too Nice. The flank on to Ixana. Bid Teaches has found his way onto the Rocket spawn. And like that, they're going to be able to transfer over A with 8 points needed. The cutoff on the C is a big one. That's going to do it. You have to think Slavonic has found the opportunity to win his team the grand finals. Blackhand 3, ESA Red 0. They do it in dominant fashion, close out a very close game 3, but the series overall not close. Blackhand are your champions.
What a close to that one, Wes, and so well executed by Blackhand. Of course, we can't see everything going on in the map at that time, but for Cortex to not just go straight to center and hold that line, to instead think about spawners, go for the flank, secure that extra kill, so massive. He ends up with 27 in the end, by the way, so you can't not look at this man's stat line and see the plays that he's making, and he deserves the spotlight. It's basically what I'm saying. Man's popping off. So is Blackhand. Look at damn, he took it. He stole it. But so did the team, right? I think we definitely slept on them a little bit. Coming off of ESA's momentum, ESA Red looking so good against Forbidden Fruit. We're thinking maybe they have this tournament. Turns out they still got some demons to take down in the likes of Blackhand. No matter where you look, there's always another team on the come up, hungry for a victory. And that's just the brutal, sweaty reality of competitive Halo, I think, Wes.
Absolutely. We see this every time a new Halo game comes out throughout the year. New talent starts to arise. People put in a lot of hard work. The right teams start to form. And all of a sudden, some upsets in that top 24, top 16, top 12. Like it always happens, right? And you start to see individuals really start to make names for themselves. Cortex did a phenomenal job today to step up statistically, but all Blackhand really finding their footing here and beating a couple of good teams, right? So hats off to them. Looking forward to seeing more from them. And they can consistently do this, they're going to find themselves further on in HCS tournaments as well. So hard work paying off for these boys, and a little bit of cash prize along with it.
At the same time, despite the unfortunate loss for ESA Red, I think their win against Forbidden Fruit, definitely a W to look back on and something to be proud of. There's a lot of potential and progress with this team. I'd say it ended on a somber note, but I expect them to bounce back, come back swinging, and hopefully we see the same at a Forbidden Fruit in ESA Blue as well. Either way, that closes our show for today. Wes, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, viewers, for hanging out as well. Always great to run these Friday exhibitions. Any final thoughts before we throw it back to Yeso, Wes?
Final thoughts are ESA Red once again looked really strong in their first series, and then in the second series obviously didn't go their way, but continuing to play at a fairly high level. Like at times they're starting to like find that level of consistency. It was great to see Blackhand, this new roster, come out. I know that they just announced pretty recently on Twitter, so good to get eyes onto them and how strong they looked and what their potential is going into Orlando and future tournaments. So excited for the mix up and the makeshift of some of these teams, these talented players that put in all this hard work towards the start of Infinite. A lot of the times it does take time for you to put together the right roster that creates a couple upsets that gets you further progressed along the road to being a professional player. It doesn't happen overnight, and you can be a good talented player, but unless you're able to put that 4v4 team together, then I mean you might get kept out of the situation, right? So it's a reason why it's that environment. Part of being on a top team is being able to construct a top team roster, right? That you see it in every other sport where a lot of good players don't mean you put together a good team. You literally have to figure out ways to have success in that environment and construct the right roster. So maybe that's what Blackhand has done in order to further progress their names, and we'll find out more as we continue to pay close attention to those guys.
Word. A lot of players, a lot of teams on the come up. I can't wait to see what the future brings. Until then, have a good night. Let's send it back to Yeso. Take it away.
Thank you, gents. Big win there for Blackhand. They take the 3-0 victory over Esports Arena Red there in the grand finals. And I had a lot to say about Esports Arena Red in the lead up to that set. And I will say, while I was very confident in my prediction, ultimately wrong. The only thing that I would change about everything that I kind of had to say in the lead up to that series is I just got to put more respect on Blackhand there. They looked really damn good. And even in game 3, when Esports Arena Red really starts to get things rolling late in that game, comes back, even takes the lead momentarily. Blackhand able to settle down, do a good job of getting things back in order and putting the finishing touches on that game and that series. So really all it comes down to is Blackhand. I definitely was underrating them going into that series. They looked really damn clean and really good in that final set, and they very much have earned that $500 and definitely some more respect from me. So well done to them. Looking forward to seeing how they continue to roll here over the next month or so. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to everybody who came out and enjoyed Series E with us this week. It was certainly a blast. Ending it on a high note here with Halo Infinite. Can't wait to see more. Do want to remind you of a couple things. One, get in on our VIZIO giveaway, exclamation point giveaway. Do not waste time. I believe it ends tomorrow, so get in there as soon as possible. Also, we are partnering with our friends at the Children's Hospital of Orange County, looking to raise money to help support them. If you want to consider donating, there's some awesome things you can earn, so make sure use exclamation point CHOC in chat to check that out. We would certainly appreciate your support. Also, if you missed out on the YNOT and Shyway show at the top of our broadcast, it is already up on YouTube right now. So make sure to head over to the Esports Arena YouTube channel and check out the show if you missed any of it. Lots of great discussion and an awesome interview with Mikwin on the show today, so don't miss out on that. And if you prefer audio only, it'll be all on all of your favorite podcast platforms this coming Monday. And if you missed any of the action here tonight or the rest of the week, I will be breaking things down on Series Recap that will come out this weekend. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out today. A pleasure, as always, to hang out with you. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena. Have a wonderful rest of your night, rest of your weekend, and we will see you on Monday.